Hello, welcome to the fan cams, guys. After the Blues, they get a win, a stressful win, but a win nonetheless. 16 goals, 11, 107 to 14 goals, 488 in front of just a tick over 40,000 people. Marvel Stadium, graveyard shift, 4:40 p.m. scenes. And here it is. It's the win that we needed. It's the win that we expected. And there's a few things to talk about. And that's what we're here to do. That's what the fan cams is all about. So appreciate you being here. Would love to hear from as many of you as possible. We'll get you through your Sunday night. Something tells me this is going to be one of those wins that gets forgotten about pretty quickly. But for now, we'll get right into it. If you'd like to call in, would love to chat with you no matter where you are in the world. The link is in the live chat right now. I've got room for about 12 people total. And we'll just get this underway, see where it goes. We are also proudly brought to you by Mr. Ugur Koken. So thank you very much to Ugur for his support. All right. Hello, mate. Wish.
Fuck. That third quarter looked like Steve McQueen on a bike. It was a great escape, wasn't it?
That's a great reference, that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you really did see, didn't you, what happens when our pressure around the ball, everything comes unstuck. And fair play, the most important pressure is scoreboard pressure. And North just couldn't not hit the target, could they? They looked like that Finnish sniper during the war. Everything was going in. But, I mean, in the end, how many times have we done these fan cams when we've said these words? It was just the experience and class got them over the line in the end. And that third quarter, but I mean, Voss will have learned a lot about that because Hewitt was sensational. Sard had his moments. And I think the amount of times Hewitt got clearance and clean ball probably won us that game.
Yeah. It was, honestly, I went into the game feeling it was a lose situation. You win by less than 40 points, it's not enough. You win by more than 40 points, it's only North. You lose, and it's pitchforks at Icon Park tomorrow morning, eyeballing the players just to see what's going on at the club.
Should have seen chat half time. Fucking hell.
Mate,
Boss was sacked at half time, cunt. I tell you, they were making phone calls for fucking Clarko, some of them.
I had a good giggle at half time. Listen, a lot of frustration. We were all feeling it at halftime, just, angry. And the halftime post just went, at least we had a safe space to vent it out. But there was a lot of pent up frustration.
I haven't checked the halftime post. I've been trying something new at halftime, which helped me stay positive. But I will confess there will be some candles in the bath this evening. And I'll be reading the halftime post, and I can confirm I'll probably be touching myself because I'm looking forward to reading that hate. I'd imagine there's some doozies in there, but I mean, let's talk about that game. We really do struggle in and around the ball, don't we? And you can see that we're starting to keep saying this, and I don't want to sound boring, but we are learning to adapt to being hunted. You can see now we are 4 points. If you can get 4 points, especially in the back end of the season, that's your grand final, isn't it? Like, we not downplaying the North, but you win today, that's like a granny for you in your stage of redevelopment. And we're really trying to struggle. We're really struggling to work out a way around that. And that's something that needs to be addressed. Voss, he's going to have to address that, because when you come up against Brisbane, Sydney in finals, they ain't going to fuck about. They ain't going to have your Zach Fisher kicking it straight to you forward, or they're not going to have that moment where for some reason North players stop running and Colby McKercher wants to let Charlie Kerno have a tackle inside 50. They ain't going to do that. So that's something that the Blues are going to have to address, because that stoppage and clearance, particularly in the first half, was banter at times.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for that. I mean, I remember being North, round 19, you got nothing to lose. You're the pressure's off. You're just playing freely mentally. There's no, you're not expected to do anything. The reality is teams look at Carlton now as a litmus test, top 4 side, etc., etc. So that is an adjustment that's going to need to be made. How much of what you saw tonight was a mental game as opposed to a structural game?
I'd love to know the stoppage. I'd love to speak to the stoppage coach because I'm not too sure. In the first half, we were playing an extra behind the ball. It looked like we weren't a side that, like, you should have looked at that game. If I was the stoppage coach, I'd looked at that game and said, we battered these fuckers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, Jerry out of it, we win. We win 10 out of 10 times. The third quarter, he did. You saw Hewitt go on the attacking side. And suddenly Carlton were getting the ball in open field, which really helped. I think there is, you can really see the mental shift of fumbliness when pressure goes up. And that 120 pressure in the first quarter, then it was 150 in the second. That's up here. And I think it's here. That's hard. And I felt we were self-preservation at times. Self-preservation, it was a little bit too tough and I didn't want to make the mistake. And in the third quarter, you saw Walsh taking off them sharp kicks, Elijah taking them dangerous kicks on. The decision to play Chera at the back, if you watch my video, we called it half back, play him on the wing and then pinch him in the ball. Not so much on the ball today, but you saw him come alive in the third quarter when we started to run with it. But in that first half, if you're playing him there and not getting him to do anything, and you're expecting him to stand there and play slow, it's a complete waste of time. But you live, you learn. I mean, Voss has got to learn these things. I can't quite put my finger on why we are so defensive at times, like so defensive. But you know what? We got away with it, didn't we? And is it a case of Sunday Blues not 3 in a row's game over if you lose 3 in a row? Was that part of it? I don't know, Terry. But they didn't play with confidence until the third quarter tonight. And that's something they've got to get back mighty fast because this blue side play on energy. Yeah,
they do. And so, I mean, I don't know. 5-day break. You got Port, same stadium, Friday night. You start entering that part of the home stretch. The external will talk about, this is the most important run now. It's the form team of the last 6 weeks, etc., etc. What did you make of the makeup of the team? Bit of chat about that this week around team selection.
I wasn't a big fan. I mean, I felt for Sam Durden. I mean, this is why when we talk about VFL, like doing it in VFL is one thing, but the game is about 50% the pace. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? It's like comparing the songs we were listening to dubstep. It's like a total different pitch and rhythm. And you could see it. I mean, he was running under the ball. They targeted him. I don't mind it. I mean, I'd love to see that team with Kemp and McGovern in it. I mean, obviously you can't. Hindsight's great. I think it will do him good, though, Kemp having the week off. He looked comfortable in VFL. And hopefully he comes back like George Hewitt. Hopefully if you give him 2 weeks and you make him hungry again. Because Hewitt was playing like a man who was trying to say fuck off Voss, wasn't he?
Which is what you want.
He literally wanted to say to Voss, you know what, dickhead, you should have played me last week, shouldn't you? And so did Motlop. And that's what the wonderful thing is about Motlop, isn't it? Like, he needs 2 touches, 2 goals.
Yeah, look, it was a good return game from Jesse. It was exactly what I was hoping for him. Take your opportunities. That's the kind of player he is. He's an opportunistic, goal-kicking forward. Thought he and Owies together really led that forward line. Anyone getting into Charlie this week for being lazy and not tackling? It was a beautiful tackle that he laid there.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe Kobe McCurcher watched his ratings and he just wanted to help to help dispel the myth. It was an interesting one. I mean, it's a real funny thing because our best is so good, but it still feels like our worst is really fucking bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, we are our own worst enemy, and I think that's maybe a sign of being a better side. we're not really getting beaten anymore. We beat ourselves up and react to it. So it's going to be interesting. Next week is a bigger test than this, and it's in our hands. 4 points. You've just got to go an extra 4 points, but each week, as long as we keep doing that, we'll be fine. But yeah, it feels like it's there. You can see it's there. It's putting it together for 4 quarters because that third quarter's won us the game, and they are 17th. Like, as good as they played, and like you say, Terry, if we lose this, you're probably saying season over. I said to you, we lose this, it's game over.
Yep. What happens if we win it?
Win the flag, baby. And
yes.
Do you know what I mean? Call me bold, call me mental, but like they're a good side. They'll find it again. They'll find it. They just need us to get behind them. I mean, the worst thing we can do now is ruin the momentum. They found a way of getting momentum. Get in, get out. Next week is a bigger task. These boys need to fucking rest up because, Jesus, it looked like Dunkirk, didn't it? The amount of fucking outs we were having.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Can't take a
wild.
trick.
So, De Koning, I mean, I was at the game. I mean, I saw a foot. I think he might have gone down and gotten a jab from what it looked like. Then I saw a chest issue. Those of you who were watching at home, maybe in the chat, can you shed some light? Like, what was the story? Because he just seemed to be banged up all day.
I just thought he took a knock. According to the commentary, evidently, and chat, he was clutching his chest. I don't know if they were alluding to heart complications or whatever, but he looked all right at the end of the game. I mean, he saw the game out. I think I thought it was winded, things like that. But, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? It's not great. It's not great, but I thought in the end, you just got to sometimes take it, haven't you, Terry? Like, I mean, 4 points is 4 points, and the Blues are second. Like, we've got to reiterate that. We're second. We ain't exactly humming, but the boys have had a pretty good fucking year, and there's still a lot of footy to go. And there's a lot of teams chasing at the moment. So we've got to go hard and make sure we find whatever mojo we had 6 weeks ago needs to be found quickly and now.
So we're frustrated with 12 wins and 5 weeks to go.
Probably 2 wins away from locking up top 8 and 4 wins away from locking up top 4. The way the season's going, the Blues just got to do it. And next week is big, but the same issues are there. But the main thing is, I think that's the first time in 3 weeks we've seen some dominance out of the centre in that third. We actually look like the old Carlton of winning the ball first, getting it out and playing stun football. So hopefully we see that for 3 quarters next week. I'll give them 1 week, 1 quarter shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, Pommy, we've got a crammed week coming up. Thanks for tonight and the watch along. We'll see you tomorrow for ratings and, get back into it.
Mate, looking forward to it. Thank you very much to the watch along chat as well. They were sensational after half time.
Absolutely. Go Blues.
Go Blues.
All right. Playboy Costi, $8, says, we won ugly, got it done. Go Blues all the way from Sicily. Thank you very much, Playboy Costi. Damien, an 11-month member of the channel, says, Adam Sard saw Forrest Gump and I was running. How good was the woof into the goal at the top of the goal square? Anyway, speaking of those who are in Italy, Jade.
Hey, Terry. Can you hear me?
Hey. Yeah, I can. How are you?
Awesome. Yeah, good. Very good. Yeah, I'm in Italy. You can see.
I can see. Looks a lot better than what it did in Melbourne today.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm in a town called Antrodago. If anyone wants to look it up on maps.
You watched the game from... Where'd you watch the game from?
Yeah, I watched the game from here. Yeah, I got my Fox Footy subscription. So, yeah.
Talk to me. What did you see?
What did I see? Oh, win's a win. I'll take it. I was hoping for the third quarter that we saw. So I was like, something's got to... The pressure increased. You could tell that something was a bit off. Not that I was nervous or anything, but I knew we'd turn it around. We had a lot. We had to win. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Should have seen the scenes at halftime at Marvel Stadium, the
Oh, I
conversations
couldn't
they were
imagine.
having. Oh my God, it was so frustrating.
Do you
We
know
were all
what?
feeling it.
I felt the energy from here, though, just from the Carlton supporters. I'm like, I don't even want to check the comments on Instagram right now.
It's good. No, look, they were poor, to be fair. North were great, and we needed a response. I was kind of hoping once that third quarter blitz came that we'd push on with it. But at the end of the day, we are not going to be talking about this game probably ever again.
No, probably not. I agree.
Right.
I
Man of the
did
match?
feel like we made them look a bit better. Like we gave them a bit too much space in the first two quarters for sure. Like our game wasn't up like it, you know. But in the first two quarters, they looked like they were calm, collected. It looked like us 3 weeks ago, you know. So yeah. But I knew we had a lot in it. But I'm just like, DeConing went off for a bit, and then followed by Kennedy went off for a bit. Then Saad took a bit of a knock. Then Harry took a bit of a knock. I'm like, what is going on with our bodies right now?
Can you tell me what was the story with Harry? What happened?
So he had a bit of a collision. Oh, there's my daughter.
Hello.
Terry says hi. He had a bit of a collision with his head. He got popped a bit of a knock when he went.
Okay.
They went up for to take a mark, and he popped a bit of a head knock. But it took him 6 minutes to get him off the ground to do like a concussion, the protocol. And so, but he kicked a goal in the meantime. So it was quite funny, the commentary at the moment. They're like, he's fine. He kicked a goal.
Mate, they knocked the sense into him. I thought it was bizarre. Like, he looked a little wobbly in the moment. And then when nobody came to him, I thought, okay, that's a little bit odd. But then he kicks a goal minutes later. And then eventually comes off and obviously does the stat test.
Yeah, and then comes back on. Yeah, so it's obviously nothing. And then he actually spoke at the end,
Okay.
He spoke at the end. And he said, he was a bit rattled for a second, but he managed to kick a goal, and he made mention of that. So, yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
I guess it's part of the game, isn't it? Knocks, bumps.
Of course. Yeah, it's a brutal sport.
And if we don't want to change the game. We love the game the way it is. So these are things that we just have to cop a little bit, I guess.
Who are you going to give man of the match to?
Good question. Ooh, I haven't even thought of that. I like Saad's game. I love that run. I love that run that he took on, and the way he got through, and he just looked so classy. Yeah.
You know what? I think in the last two games, I know we lost last week, but I've started to notice a little bit more run and carry from him. I think he's the crowd into it, and we're just a better side when he's running and carrying and using the ball.
Yeah. And Cottrell did a lot of run as well, which was good to see because he was really quiet last week.
Yep. Needed to perform.
So as soon as our pressure went up, they couldn't handle it, and we got to get the game on our terms. So, it just goes to show that effort and want and desire, you've got to be in it. So,
no doubt. What's on the agenda today now in Italy?
Not much. Just had a coffee and just go for a walk, and then I guess have some lunch at 1. Yeah, food here is very scheduled. No one misses out on their meal times. So generally at about 1:30, you'll see the streets are empty and everyone's having lunch. So yeah,
amazing.
That'll be us in about an hour.
Well, you have a great day. Thanks for calling in. Go Blues.
Awesome. Go Blues. Thanks, Terry. Have a good one.
See ya. Got another bagger abroad. It's Beachy.
How we doing, Tez?
Mate, we are good. Give us the rundown. Where are you in the world?
So I'm in London at the moment. I'm on a train to Nottingham. I'm having a little look around there today. I'm going to have a look around the castle, have a look around the town there. So I'm on a train. I'm at Luton Airport Parkway at the moment. But yeah, that's what I'm up to at the moment.
Fantastic, mate. How'd you go watching the game?
So I kept running into ads as you expected, but yeah, we got there okay. We were able to find out what was going on. I was a little bit unhappy with how we started, but look, we eventually worked into the game and eventually we were able to overpower them, which was ideal. I would have loved a bit more of a win today, but 19 points is 19 points. We'll have to take it.
What was your expectation going into the game today?
Well, getting the win, obviously, by a heck of a lot more than 19 points because we would have needed that nice little percentage boost. But obviously, that was me thinking North Melbourne were just going to roll over. Clearly, they didn't because they bought their kicking boots, and we were thinking, oh, hang on, we're up against it here. We've actually got to do something.
Yeah, there was a bit of a scare there. I think Sheasel kicks a goal in the fourth to cut it to 7. And at no point did I feel we were going to lose the game. But for a brief moment, I thought, surely not. Like, surely not.
Yeah, I'm in agreement, Tez. I mean, God forbid if that actually happened, that you could imagine this. You can imagine the reaction of the supporters, brother. I can tell you right now.
Oh my God, it would have. These fan camps would have been a very different, a very different energy.
Yeah, and yeah, we're always talking about energy. We're always talking about vibes. Yeah, sure. We had Koken go down early. We had Sam Durden go down early. We had Akers subbed off tactically. Fortunately, we're able to hold on, but if we didn't hold on there, oh boy.
Hey, how do you view the talk about our defense and we're conceding a lot of points for the teams who are in this upper bracket in the 8. Are you concerned about that? Or do you think it's going to get better the closer we get to finals and when finals starts?
I'm not going to lie, I am probably a little bit concerned because this has happened now the last 2 weeks. It happened against the Dogs. It happened today. But I'm also hopeful that we will be able to turn it around before finals kicks in. Because if we have a home final position to play for, which I hope we can seal before the end of the home and away season, then I'm sure we would be able to find a way to get past what we need to do.
Yeah, I think I'm with you as well. I don't like. I mean, look. To be fair, North were very accurate. 14-4. You know, whatever. It is what it is. But the concern I have is the leakage in the corridor, leakage on the scoreboard.
Yes.
Just got to tighten it up. We've been saying it for the last 3 weeks now. I thought after the Giants, I'm like, okay, you have a bad one. After the Dogs, okay, you have 2 bad ones. But 3 weeks in a row, we're just conceding too much.
Exactly. And those 2 games that you've just mentioned, including today, so we'll make it 3. Giants, Dogs, North. They beat us around the ball. They beat us at the contest, and we needed to tighten that up. And it looks like to me we still need to tighten that up, especially when we have the likes of Port Adelaide coming up at home, and they're going to try and do that to us again this coming Friday night.
Yeah. Where will you be this Friday for the Port Adelaide game?
I will be on a flight home, coming back from Singapore, I suspect, because my flight leaves London at 11 o'clock in the morning. So that's an overnight flight. By the time I land back in Melbourne, I think the second half will have just started.
Well, mate, hopefully you're watching a Blues blitz by the time you land next week and we're chatting to you afterwards.
I've got everything crossed by this point, Tez. Everything crossed.
Good on you, Beachy. Thanks for calling in, mate.
No worries, Tez. Thanks, mate.
Joe Adamo.
Gee, would the world have caved in if we lost that? Jesus Christ.
The world was caving in at half-time, brother.
I don't know. Not for me. And I've said this for a lot of this year now. I don't live minute to minute, quarter to quarter anymore. I can't do it. It takes too much energy. And that's why. I'm sure a lot of people watching that game probably would have wanted Charlie's head at quarter time, half time. Ends up kicking 4. It's not, for me, it's not worth it anymore. All right, it's North. Yeah, should be penciled in as a big win, but nothing's a given in this league anymore. They've done that to multiple teams this year and given them scares. So, never in doubt, mate. Never in doubt. Never worried.
I never felt we were going to lose the game. Frustrated for a lot of it, but it was, I think I said it earlier with Pommy. I mean, that was us back in the day. Get to round 19, you got no pressure. You play these good sides towards the top. They're expected to beat you. No one's giving you a chance. Even, it was interesting as well when they were doing the warm up on the ground today. And you know how they do like the Macca's chat with, who is it? Can't remember who it was. And they were actually talking, and the sound was coming through the speakers. And I was saying, can North win? And can't remember who it was for the life of me. It's like, nah, no chance. But like the boys are like warming up while they're doing that. I thought that was just a fascinating image. So when you got the external talking the way they were about it, I mean, any result wasn't going to be good enough.
No, and like I said, it's not a given. Like at the end of the day, they've shown, credit to North Melbourne, because they've shown that sort of form for a little while now, against some pretty good opposition. So, they threw everything at us. The biggest disappointment for me, I wasn't there today. I was watching it with Dan at his place with his newborn. But the biggest disappointment for me was halfway through the second quarter, our pressure rating dropped to 128.
Really?
Yeah. So, and I looked at it and I went, okay, if we're searching for answers, there it is, because it doesn't matter who you come up against. If you've got a pressure rating of 128 at any stage of the game, the opposition is going to get on top of you. And the fact that they were kicking straight during that time, like super straight, looked like they weren't going to miss all day. The fact it was only a 2-3 goal margin, I wasn't concerned, because I knew that pressure rating wasn't going to sustain for us all day, and they weren't going to sustain on their end. That jumped to 250 in the third. So there's your ball game. You see the output when the application is there. And I've said it for a long time. It's very simple with this group now. It's all application, mate. That's it. If they want it, all they need to do is apply pressure and contest as a team. It's team defense first. Everything else sorts itself out after that. And we saw that for what it was today in the third. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not disappointed. Never are with a win. Clear. I feel like this was actually one I came away with more answers than questions for the first time in a while, to be honest. Yeah.
What were some of the answers for you?
Well, first off, just around that application, that's clear now. So that's all. That's literally all it's going to take between us winning a flag and not is how I see it. Because that pressure hasn't been there for the last few weeks, and when we turned it on today, we looked like the team we should be in that third and fourth quarter. But the other one was just around this. Obviously, there's been a ruck debate all year, and there's been people that have said the 2-ruck system doesn't work. We don't look sharp enough. We don't apply enough pressure. We don't move the ball quick enough. There's a 1-ruck system today, and there was our lowest pressure rating for the season in that second quarter. So I think 1 ruck or 2, it doesn't matter at this point. It really doesn't. And to be honest, I've been a big advocate for it for most of the year, but I saw value in having Pitternet out there today against Cherry, because he was having his way. He was having his way early, especially. So
my concern with it for a moment, because I didn't know in the stands when I was watching, Tom went off the ground. He looked really sore. I think he might have went and got a jab. immediately, I mean, this was early in the game, and I'm thinking, well, what happens if he has to come off? I mean, who's going to ruck for the rest of the game? In that
Mate,
case today, it would have been Harry or Sam Durden or.
But
And I
imagine,
thought,
but imagine that's a final. And I've said this all year. You can't. Because of how reliant we are on Harry and Charlie up forward, right? We can't roll into a final series with one ruck for that reason, because you can't have Harry rucking all game. It throws everything out of whack for us. Everything. If it were to happen. Now, obviously, some people will say, well, you can't go into a game accounting for injuries that could happen. Yeah, you can. You actually can, because you saw it for what it was today, for that split second. And we went, shit, Cherry could eat him up today if Tom doesn't come back out here. So for me, that's another big question that was answered for me personally, because it's clear as day now. It's clear as day the way that we need to roll into a final series. I understand everyone wants turnover and turnover and turnover. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, it'll still be part of our game. But our profile for 3 years now has been clearance and stoppage, and we've lost that the last 3 weeks. And you see the results that are coming. We got the win today. The last 2 weeks have been piss poor, team defense-wise. We haven't got stoppage right. So imagine you lose Tom in a one-ruck system with how weak our stoppage game's been all year. You can't, for me, you can't roll that dice. You just can't. So they're two big questions that were answered. The other one was just around Charlie. Like I said, I'm glad I wasn't there today, because I probably would have lost it at someone in the stands with some comments that I know would have been absolutely flying around. But just leave the guy be, man. Like,
I mean, he ripped the game apart.
He's a freak. He won us the game. All right, he had a couple of mistakes early, but the groans and it's audible. It's like the groans for Harry last year now. It's becoming like that. Like, you can hear it. Leave it be. He was the match winner in the end. He kicked 4. Could have had 6. Don't worry about a couple of mistakes. Let him be. Let him do what he needs to do. It's Charlie fucking Curnow, man. Like, I don't understand. Tez, I don't understand it, and it's starting to shit me. It really is. The mentality of our fan base at the moment, and not everyone, but there is a group out there, and they know, if you're a part of it or not, that just, like, people say, I go the early crow. Yeah? Our supporters go the early crow for the wrong reason. Like, just might as well throw in the towel at quarter time, half time, because it's too many mistakes. It's too hard. Oh, we should be winning by 10 goals. No, you shouldn't be doing anything. Nothing is given. Nothing. We won the game because we deserve to win the game in the end. That's it. Simple.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what it looks like in moments and at quarter time and half time. Don't worry about it. Judge it at the end of the game. That's it.
It was interesting watching Charlie's. I think it was his 3rd or his 4th, and he gave this one, and it was almost like, are you not entertained?
And so he should.
Yeah.
Mate, I'd be pissed off if I was if I was playing for this football club with as much as that group has turned it around in the last 2 years. I would be pissed off to hear some of those groans in the crowd just over bullshit. Like, honestly, it's I don't want to vent about it too much, but it's really starting to, it's irking me. So you can imagine how they hear it. They hear that noise. They feel that energy. They know. So imagine how they're feeling. Over literally nothing in the end, because we won the game. Like, it's just the standard that we hold, not just Charlie to, but the whole group to, is just it is insane, Tez. It's insane. Yeah. It's nuts, mate.
We need finals footy to roll around so we can, I don't know. I don't know what we need, actually. I have no answers.
How'd you see it?
I saw it as a frustrating game. I thought North would do exactly what they did today. I was hoping we would blow it out a little bit more once we got, gained ascendancy again. We did that in the 3rd quarter. I was hoping we'd blow it out a little bit more, but at the end of the day, there's 23, 24 rounds in the season. We're not going to be talking about this game after tomorrow. Honestly, it'll probably never get spoken about again. It's just be one of those games. Right now, we're in the moment, so you got to take it for what it is. If anything, good on North for giving it a bit of a challenge and forcing us to. Because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, you can't learn anything from today because it's North." I was like,
"No, you can't."
No, I think North helped us find out a little bit more.
I think you can learn a little bit about selection. Sam Durden, for me, it just. Even before today, it just didn't make sense. When you got Brody Kemp there, that's played the majority of games this year. Like why that selection was made, I got no idea.
Mm.
Selection, the way we're structured up at the moment, there's a lot of questions that have probably been answered after today. Yeah, and the other thing is, like, all right, for me, I think the scoreboard actually flattered them in the end, really. Like, what do they have, 18 shots on goal from 56 inside 50s or something for a return of 87 points or whatever it was. Like, that's straight kicking, man. Like, that's really, really straight kicking. So scoreboard probably flattered them in the end too. It probably doesn't look – it probably looks worse than what it actually was. We probably realistically won that game by 4 or 5 goals, really.
Yeah.
So, no, you can absolutely learn from games like today, positive and negative. So, as fans, I hope we learn. As fans, I hope we've learned. That's my biggest thing today. It's just like, let it play out. Let's enough's enough. This isn't 2018. It's not,
Mate, thanks for coming on and sharing your thoughts. That was great.
Thank you.
Speak to you soon. Hey, Monday Mayhem tomorrow.
Box footy, eat your heart out. Forget your Super Saturday. It's Monday Mayhem on Bill Road. Yeah, we're on 8 o'clock tomorrow night after you and Pom finish up on the BA show.
Don't know who's going to be on a BA show. I haven't thought about tomorrow yet. I'm just getting through tonight.
Fair enough. Anyway, we'll be on after you guys. So, looking forward to it.
See you, brother.
See you guys.
All right. Hey, Weldy.
Hey, Terry.
It was 4 points, and that's about it.
Yeah, you bank it, you move on, short turnaround. Interesting game. Yeah, it was frustrating, all the things that have already been said. I thought our midfield was down early, but we fought back really well to get the boys back into the game. And I thought Charlie hung in there. I thought he battled all day. Probably won us that game in the third. I thought he separated the game and took his moments. Had a couple of brain fades, but it's not perfect. He's just showing he's a human. Look, it was a solid performance, but it sort of feels like that 5-game winning streak that we had. We were sort of building some really good momentum. First quarter of the Giants game, just everything going our way, and then things started sort of regressing back from there. And I think now we're just starting to build again. I don't think we're there yet. I think for the points that have already been mentioned around defensively, we're leaking. Not as much today, but also North were pretty accurate today too. So you got to give them some credit there, but they won't kick 14-4 every week. So, was that a reflection of the easy shots that they had on goal? Not sure. I haven't sort of looked at it. It's obviously the game's still fresh, but just all those factors. It's going to be interesting. We've got a quick turnaround. That's 4 or 5 days. So a few boys that look sore as well. I think Akers went off. He was subbed out, and he was limping.
What was I don't know if that. I mean, I didn't hear anything. What was that? Was that just precautionary? Was there an injury?
Well, I saw him limp throughout different parts of the game. It looked like a lower leg injury. It didn't look like a muscular injury. It might have been a knock that just was bothering him. I'm not sure, to be honest. But he played on with it, and then to start the last quarter, he went forward. I think that shot that Chincotta missed directly in front, he was sort of running beside him and he could have handballed it, and really that was the last I saw of him, and I think they took him off after that. So I'm not sure. Hopefully he's okay. But got a handy one that had a good game in the VFL today.
I was going to ask you because I thought Cottrell and Ollie, there was a bit of talk about, they've got to perform, they've got to, really, just keep at it. Then you get Binns earlier in the day having a casual 47 and 3.
Just a
what do
lazy
you make
day.
of the midfield mix in general? Chera was put to half back to start the game. You had Carroll at centre bounces a lot more than what we've seen him. Is it still a tinkering phase?
Oh, I think so. I think they're trying a few things. Some people behind the ball. I thought we're a bit short down back. Sorry, I know Durden sort of played, but I I still felt that we were probably one medium-sized players like a Kemp short in the back line. But look, they made do with it. Look, it's interesting that we're experimenting this time of year. That's going to be interesting. I don't know if that's going to be sustainable. Obviously, McGovern probably comes back next week, so that changes the mix down back. And do you bring in him for Durden? And then again, you go a little bit shorter, or does Kemp come back? Not sure. It'll be interesting. We've got some selection conundrums over the next few days, but probably a light week and go from there. I thought Sard was really good today. Cripper did what Cripper does. I thought TDK also turned the game. He had some crucial clearances in that third as well. And he was playing a bit injured. I think he went off for a while in that late.
He was in the wars today, TDK.
He was. But geez, he's going to win us a final or even a grand final. This kid, he can dominate. And I thought Zeri was very good. Like,
he's impressive. He's a very impressive player, Sherry.
Absolutely. And he went with him and he matched him. And I'll probably just give DeConning the chocolates, but gee whiz, Zeri was pretty good. He was very good. So, I think, look, if we can keep him healthy and everything, I think he's going to be an X factor for us in the finals. But yeah, I think it's also a bit of the grind as well this time of year. I think a few blokes are a bit sore, and I'm just hoping. So I'm hoping we're building again. We can't really afford to slip up from here if we want a home final and finish top two. But in a way, it's probably not a bad thing. It keeps the players on the eyes firmly focused on what's ahead of them, rather than taking the foot off. Not that I expect them to, but it was good to get back on the winnings list. But we got to move on pretty quickly, I think. So
pretty quickly.
What were your thoughts?
Just happy to get the win, move on. I was frustrated like all of us were in the first half. Just some of the errors. In the end, I think our shots on goal evened out a bit, but it was accurate in front of goal, but it was, messy between the sticks, if that makes sense. So leading up to shots on goal, I thought it was a messy game. But the shots on goal were relatively accurate. I'm with you. I just think it's the grind of the season. I think it's just that really awkward part of the year. I'd love to be winning by 10 goals today. Would love it. Yeah. The reality is, if you win by 10 goals today, does that mean you're guaranteed to win a flag? I don't think so.
No.
So, if anything, I'm glad we don't leave this game saying, "Oh, we learned nothing from today. Or we get nothing out of today." And because I thought North did some things that we still have to figure out.
I think so, and they're going to be a bloody good team when they get it all together. They've got a good mix of players. I thought Cottrell today really stepped it up. He was unbelievable. I thought that was his best game since he's come back for sure. So that was good. Bank the win. Move on.
Very good.
Let's do it. Let's get Friday night and let's get this mob. They still haven't beaten Port haven't beaten us since Voss has taken over.
That's
true. He's got the wood on them.
We're going to continue that on Friday night. You going?
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, have a good week.
Thanks,
I'll
buddy.
see you there.
See you, mate. You too.
See ya. Bye. Up the baggers. Speaking of up the baggers, where's young Zach? I see him here. Hello, mate.
Hey, Tez. How are we, man?
We're good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. Well, first of all, I just want to start off with what Joel said earlier. Some of our fans, I know I have a lot to get off my head, but some of our fans just, saying sack Ross. Like some of these ridiculous comments, I think that we just need to smarten up a bit, because, I know that we know fans are saying, we should win by more, blah, blah, blah. But, a win's a win and you take it. And, I think, credit to North. I reckon they really played well today and they really, gave it to us early. And, but a win's a win, you take the 4 points. But some of the ridiculous comments like that, it's just not called for, Tez. You know what I mean?
Mate, you're a young supporter, right? What is does it take away from the enjoyment a little bit watching it constantly come, or does it not affect you?
Are you talking about like the fans in general, or are you talking about like?
Yeah, I mean we've spoken about the new generation who you're experiencing good Carlton footy, Carlton winning games of footy.
I have seen some bad Carlton footy before. I definitely have, but yeah,
you have.
Yeah.
So now that you're watching winning Carlton footy, does it change the way you watch the game, knowing that you got to be careful because of what you see in comments and stuff like that?
Well, no, it doesn't really affect me, but it kind of really pisses me off a little bit, kind of. But all aside, I think that third quarter was just all about experience. I think that we really started to dominate, and once we started to hit the front, I knew that we were not going to lose the game. I think with all the experience and quality that we have in the side, I reckon things were starting to turn. And I don't think anyone's talked about this guy today at all, but I think George Stewart had an absolutely amazing game.
Yeah.
Hasn't really, no one's really talked about him. I've seen people in the chat say, oh, no one's talked about George Stewart, but I think, he was outstanding today. I think, we really missed his defensive work and stuff. I think he was really good around the ball, 22 touches. I think about 8 clearances. So it was another piece to the, team that we needed, and I think that we were missing.
Mate, it's a good call. I noticed it straight away. First quarter, I think he might have won one of the first few clearances and just got it out, went with that defensive handball just into space, and I thought, okay, things are back to normal. George is back in the midfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, what's it called? Some of the selection calls. I know, Sam Durden was on the emergencies, but I know that we have to give Kemp a bit of a run in the VFL, and McGovern, resting in Port, but I think Sam Durden's first half wasn't that great, but I think he did what he needed to do. His role, he played his role. He didn't need to have like a big game because I think his contest work in the second half was really good. When he just contested it, when he spoiled the ball away, and I think he doesn't play against Port. I reckon Kemp and McGovern probably come in and probably strengthen that defense a little bit. But yeah, and how did you see that, Terry, with the selection, Sam Durden, and all that stuff?
It was what it was. I think McGovern was always 1 to 2. At this point in the year, he's a player that you just don't want to be risking bringing him in too early. You've got a 5-day break. You'd rather give him the extra week, bring him in this week against Port. I don't mind Kemp going back to the twos, getting some confidence. He'll be back into the side, I would think, sooner rather than later. We've got a really weird little patch now. It's a Sunday night game. We play on Friday night. So a bit of management there. I liked seeing some of these midfielders come into the side, bring some, to talk about the speed on the game that we had. I don't know, Zach. I just think we're in this. I just think it's round 19. And
100%. This is another game playing North.
Yeah.
But another thing, what Joe said earlier, he said something about the one ruck situation. Now, I don't know about you, Tez, but last year in that it was the elimination final against against Sydney. We actually went with the 2 rucks and we started De Koning on the bench, right? But then when Harry went down, right, De Koning, played as that forward. So I don't know about you, Tez, but I think we need Pito. and I think one of them's got to start on the bench as a secondary ruck, because it is really bloody, important for finals. Because say if one of them go down, we're in massive trouble. Because say you're playing a team like, we'll say Geelong, right? No, we'll say Brisbane, right? You can't afford to play one ruck, especially against Oscar McInerney. We need to learn how to play with the two rucks, because, again, even if Harry goes down, we have the Koken to go in there and play that forward. Because who is gonna, who will ruck, right? If the Koken's gonna go forward, that's what I just said. Like, who's gonna ruck? You can't just play the Koken and then you're gonna have a lesser tall down there. So how do you see it, Terry? Do you reckon?
I think we look at our best when De Koning is fit, healthy, singularly in the ruck. But what I felt today was this fear come within me. De Koning goes off. He wasn't on for a little while. I started thinking, what happens if we play Tom in a game and Touchwood he goes down, and then you've got to play Harry in the ruck for the rest of the game? And I think that's the worst case scenario. So,
and then you're kind of going to risk him. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so hard. The coaches will. I just sit here and react rather than know. I don't know.
Yeah,
sometimes
it's really hard.
Sometimes I think it looks more dynamic with one. Sometimes I think we look more powerful with two, and then in the finals it becomes more of a contest game. So
it's really tough, Terry. It's tough.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tez, we take the win. Go Blues.
Go Blues.
And
see you,
I will be watching the ratings tomorrow.
All right, mate. See you there.
See you, Tez.
See you, mate. Champion. Let's go back outside of Australia. We've got Jeff from Thailand. Mate, you are on mute. Nah. I'll get you to fix it up. We'll bring you back in. Tyler, hello, mate.
Hey, Terry. How you going, mate?
Mate, I'm good. Sunday night, 4 points. Move on.
Win's a win.
Win's a win.
Just get on with it. Like, look, first half was not a good. It was not pretty. It was not pretty, but look, you got to give credit to the boys that they just stuck that and they just got it done in the end. And it just came down to pressure and effort. That's all it is. That's all it is with this team, is just pressure and effort. If they want to bring it, they'll bring it. And if they and as Joe's point, like the pressure rating was 121 or whatever it was at half time. You could see Voss walking off the bench, and he was swearing, he was livid. And it was like, okay, yep, they're going to go in there, they're going to have a bit of a fire up, and then you watch them come out, and so be it. The third quarter was the time. That was the time. But I'll just say very quickly that we needed George Hewitt. Yeah. Yeah, no. You can't drop him again. But I'll just add on another point, is that it was mentioned about tinkering and all of that. Tinkering only plays into it, in my opinion, like tinkering with the side and all of that only plays into it for the next 2 weeks max. Because you are literally getting, we've got how many weeks to go? 5 weeks.
5 more games, I think it is now. Yeah.
5 more games. So they usually say by 4 games to go, that's going to be the list. That's going to be the team that goes into the finals. If you keep on tinkering with it up until the finals, that's when you get a little bit wishy-washy. Because the way I see it is that the next couple of games, the next 2 games, especially against the Collingwood game, that'll be a really big test. I reckon we'll definitely play the two rucks, because, as Joe said, if we don't have it in the finals, I'll be very, very concerned if we were to play it like that. But I can definitely see, this is going to be an interesting part. It's going to be a selection headache. It really will be, because you are trying to get key players in like Martin, Who are you going to take out? You got McGovern, you've got Kemp, and all of that because they had to play Chera halfback today. You would normally play Kempy at halfback, or you might play McGovern on halfback and then Kempy in back pocket or something like that. It's going to be a selection headache for the next couple of weeks, but once you get it, don't screw around with the team anymore because you've got to find that synergy coming into finals. However, though, it was still a good game. It was a still good final half. George, I would honestly, I don't know who to give the best of ground to. Yeah, you could easy way you could give it to Charlie because he kicked 4 goals, but like, in all honesty, no, I'd give it to George Hewitt. Honestly, I'd give it to Hewitt, and then doing a bit, you. It's a toss up between Fogarty and Motts.
It's good to see Motts back in the side.
Yeah, it is. It is. Those goals. Watching him get 2 goals in a minute, it was great. Like you could just see like he needed to be back into the side, get a little bit of continuity, and all of that. But it was an interesting point that was mentioned in the chat during the game. I want to get your thoughts on it. Has the holding the ball rule impacted Sam Walsh's game?
Mate, I'm glad you asked. I don't remember a time where I've seen him pinned holding the ball more than in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
2
It's
months?
a lot.
Yeah, they seem to call it really quickly on him. Maybe he just gets a little unlucky with the timing, but I've never sseen him pinned this much in my life.
Exactly, and I think it's just due to the tinkering of like holding the ball and all of that. But I just couldn't believe it. Like he pretty much how it's been interpreted now. I get it's prior opportunity, but like the player will literally get it, and it's a 1 second decision, and he's already gone holding the ball. It's like you call that no prior, but anyway, I was just curious to hear your thoughts on that because I thought he got dogged. He got dogged a few times for some of those decisions. I thought, it's a bit grey area that one, but
I'll tell you what I said this earlier, and I'm going to repeat it. A lot of things happened today. One of the really interesting reactions I saw was Charlie Curnow kick his 3rd or his 4th, and the way he sort of looked at the crowd and just sort of give them is that okay now, guys? You know, you're happy now. Like it was a bit. I thought there was a bit of that in there, personally, with his body language, which I didn't mind because I think Joe said it earlier. I think we're way too harsh. We're demanding him to be the perfect player.
Oh, I agree.
I
100% agree. And look, I'm not going to deny. Like I know I put on the post at halftime. Like I never mentioned anything about Charlie or anything like. It was just to me. It was just effort. We weren't showing any effort. That's all it was. And you knew that once you showed a bit of heart and a bit of ticker, that we were going to come out firing. And there was just going to be a moment in the game that was like, yep, no, click, we're on. And it happened to be the third quarter, but I don't know, people need to calm down. I get it, and especially for the people out there that have seen a lot of success with Carlton in a long time ago, and all of that, and then especially for the people like us that have seen a lot of heartache and a lot of heartbreak. The team is finally this is the team, yes. And the comments to say sack Voss, I'm going, well, you look at Voss's track record. Seriously, he's got more wins banked than Bolton and Teague. Like, so you look at his track record. He looks a lot better than those coaches. But see, those comments really don't help. I get it. There's frustrations in the game. Okay, we're playing North Melbourne, but you know what? This is the time where literally, as you said, like we were in this position a long time ago. We were trying to stop. Basically, we knew that we were no finals and all of that, but we were playing with no strings attached. Let's just go for it. And then we were attacking the top 8 contenders like we were playing like in a grand final or something like that, because this is the time literally that it gets the most dangerous when you're in the top 8, because there's no fear anymore for those bottom 8 teams. They're going to give it their all, and they're going to see what you're made of. because you're going to be in the big dance in the end. You're going to be in the big finals. So, look, I will not be remembering this game. I don't think everyone of us will be remembering this game, but still, a win's a win. It'd be a very, very tough game against Port Adelaide next week, I reckon. We'll give it a good shot. I reckon Pito definitely has to come in for that one. I'll be very interested to hear about selection this year, this time. But I was actually, just very quickly, I was very surprised how Cunners was not played on the ball from the very beginning. I want to get your thoughts on that. Like, would you have played Cunners on the ball a little bit earlier, or would you put Carroll as the sub, or because he came on in the last little bit and he was going really well.
I didn't mind Cunners as the sub personally. I think in theory he's a great sub because of his attributes. I don't know if he and Jack Carroll are going to be in the best iteration of this team in the next 5 weeks because
it's going to be very tough.
I'm assuming they're going to want to have a look at Jack Martin. I'm assuming they're going to want Zach Williams back in the side.
Big time.
So, yeah, let's see. Let's see what they do.
See what they do. All right, Terry.
All right, mate.
Let's beat Port. Let's beat Port.
Absolutely. Good on you. Go Blues.
Catch you, mate. See ya. Bye-bye.
Adrian.
Terry, how are you?
He's here. I'm good, bro. How are you?
I'm good. Just getting through that semi-stressful game, but we got the 4 points, and I think you summed it up pretty well in your post. You said win and run, and I think that's spot on. Tricky game to assess, as per the previous interviewers, but I just thought today we looked like a team that was labouring a little bit. We were battered and bruised, obviously. A lot of players coming off the ground. And I just reckon I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but I think come September, I think you'll see a different beast. I agree with Tyler, the previous guy who was saying the tinkering of the side and the trying to find your best mix, your best 22. It's probably going to end in a couple of weeks. And it's going to be even more interesting with the selection squeeze because everyone knows who's out of the side and whoever's available with their health. It's going to be interesting to see how they alter that. But yeah, I walked away and I was content. I wasn't too disappointed. I wasn't overly happy. We got the 4 points, which is grouse. It's good. I do think the third quarter we put in the effort that we didn't have in the first half, and I think that comes back to that mental application thing. If you're not on, you're going to get shown up. And credit to North, as you were saying, they didn't roll over. And
well, they've just made it so clear to us when that defensive application is on and when it's not on, it's so obvious. So I guess the question is it just a matter of I'm confident that they turn on that defensive application, things look better? Or is it a matter of, hang on a minute, structurally we're getting beaten up? Like, what's the balance of you believe we can fix it and we have a problem?
Yeah, that's a very good question because I'm caught in between both sides there. I do think there is a slight clear problem defensively with the transitioning of the ball, not necessarily in the D50, but the movement of the opposition going into our defensive 50, which is putting our defenders in vulnerable spaces. But I also believe that when we want to go into fourth or fifth gear, we have that ability to actually do that. And albeit undermanned in defence today, the previous 2 weeks were a concern. Like, you're conceding 100 points, you're not going to win a lot of games. And we do have some work to do. But I will say this. I think we've seen Sydney's best. I think we've seen Brisbane's best. I can honestly say I don't believe we have seen our best. Despite the 60-point win against Geelong, which was pretty good. It was very impressive. Richmond was a professional game. We got the job done well, convincing. Last 2 weeks had that lull, and I just reckon in the next 2-3 weeks, especially on Friday against Port, it's going to be tough. It's a 5-day backup. We look battered and bruised today. I agree with Tyler again. I think Pitto comes back in, has to play. McGovern probably plays, but I reckon in the next 2-3 weeks we're probably going to see who our best 22s or 23 are, subject to availability, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think we can turn it back on. I said after the Bulldogs game, I wasn't too concerned, and I'm genuinely not that concerned. I believe we look like a team at the moment that's not labouring, but we're sort of waiting for the finals. And I know there's a lot of talk about, you want to finish top 2, top 4, top 2, ideally second to get the home final. But I'm of the mindset anywhere, anytime, any opposition. I'm not. I genuinely. I don't want to. I hope it doesn't come across as arrogant. I'm not concerned about anyone. I think the only way we lose is if we beat ourselves, and I think it's a mental thing. It's
a good reminder.
It's all in the mind.
That's
I'm
a
genuine.
great reminder.
I have no fear on versing anyone. What I do have a concern about is the mentality of the players.
Yeah.
Ours. So I don't think. Yeah, look, it's we got Port, Collingwood, Hawthorn or West Coast after that. It's going to be an interesting 3 weeks because Port 5-day backup, Collingwood they got their milestone 400 Pendlebury whatever blah blah blah, and the Hawks are no pushovers. They're no deals at the moment. And look, we got through today. We got the 4 points, but we move on to Port Adelaide and hopefully we can stay healthy because at the moment I think that's going to be our biggest challenge.
Yeah. Health and synergy. It's big. Timing's everything, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We
Mate,
move on, man.
love your thoughts. Thanks for calling in, man.
I love your thoughts more. See you next Friday.
See ya.
See you, Tez.
All right, let's get back out to Thailand, see if we've got Jeff. Jeff, have I got you, mate?
I hope so. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Very good. Very good. How are you, Terry? Baggers?
Yeah, good. I think Adrian summed it up really well there. That was a reminder. I mean, we're focusing a lot on this top 2, home final mentality, but, mate, we don't fear anyone.
Well, if we make the 8, we make the 8. And we played a team today in North Melbourne who are improving every week. They're a big side. They're young. They're having a crack. They've got nothing to lose, right? What really frustrated me today was watching the umpiring. I mean, Charlie and Harry were held. Cripps, Walshy in the centre. Hewitt was pulled us out of the pot. Really, he really pulled us out of trouble. And I thought young Carroll did all right today with his long hand passing out of trouble. He's got an uncanny knack for finding the ball, that lad, and he disposed well. So he's worth nurturing along. But this umpiring, they were saying they grab Walshy. They're grabbing them before they got the ball. Before they've got the ball, they're grabbing them. And as they're bouncing the ball, they're holding Cripper. Cripper's wrestling all day. They're just holding. You've got no hope. So, and I noticed in the ruck, they'll cut in front of the Koken to try and chop him off. They do also block Charlie and Mackay in the forward line. They're blocking, they're doing things. So the holding was ridiculous. In the halfway through the third quarter, we started to get a few free kicks from the holding. And in the last quarter, we did. That's when we started to kick. We should have won that by 6 goals. With those holding free kicks that we didn't get in the forward line, they should have been all free kicks. But they don't like giving free kicks to Carlton now. And
should have stayed off the ball, like when the ball was 50, 60 meters away. When I was sitting at our defense, where we were kicking on our goals, the work that was going into Charlie, he was not allowed to go anywhere. Umpire's right there.
And they pushed him over at one stage.
Yeah.
They pushed him over within 5 metres of the ball. Nothing. Now,
Yeah.
Archer, I don't know who was on him, but he just slightly touched him. Bang, free kick. Right?
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. And I don't know. The AFL have always been a bunch of morons, mate. They are absolutely got it. They've gone woke, moronic, worse than Bidenomics, mate. We're going to call them Brandon. They're unbelievably stupid. They've made the decision to do what they've done, and the umpires still don't understand it, or they can't see it. If they want to stop the holding, you've got to start pinging people because the game's ugly. I watch rugby union, mate. I enjoyed myself yesterday watching the rugby union, and I watched that game today, and that was just crap. That was just utter garbage. And the umpires are creating the problem, and because we can't ridicule the umpires, we can't do nothing. Right? The only thing you can do is vote with your feet. Don't go. But the Blues are in a situation where we've got to go and support them. And Terry, were the crowd quiet today? Were they down a little bit?
I'll be honest. I thought the crowd was louder than what I expected the crowd to be.
Okay.
I thought we would be a little bit reserved. But the interesting thing, which I wasn't surprised, there was frustration in the first half, which sort of boiled over in the third quarter, and a few umpiring calls didn't go our way. That generally helps us get up and about. No, I think I expected the crowd to be less loud than what it was.
Yeah. Because it seemed on TV when I was watching it here that they were quite subdued, a little bit shocked, to be honest. I thought they would be a bit shocked, but what I saw was going on was okay. We were doing well. I mean, Cripps was in position with the ball, but being held before it. Same with Walsh, and Hewitt saved the day. I thought Matty Cottrell did really well. He opened the game up a little bit when it needed to be. Everyone played, and look, we really, really need a third tall in the forward line because we've lost Jack and we've lost Martin. Put Kempy in there. If you're going to take Kempy out of the back line, put him up in the forward line, mate, because he can take a mark and kick. Yeah. He's quite good. We need to do something. The finals are coming up, and I don't like to say this, and I'm not an anti-Marchbank, but geez, I'm glad he didn't play today. And Sam Durden, he's quite good, and he's a very good kicker of the ball, but he needs more time, and it's probably too late in the season to be throwing him in, but they've got no one else.
Yeah.
But if you're going to drop Kempy, put him in the forward line. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, you look at next week, quite a few more tall guys in the Port forward line. I'm thinking, you got Georgiades, Dixon. Yep. I don't know if Todd Marshall's ready to play yet. Ollie Lord's probably a factor. I mean, they've got some big boys, so we're going to need McGovern and we're going to need Kemp, I would have thought.
And if Dicko gets his mojo back, we're in big trouble because that boy can play when he wants to.
Yep.
But I thought today, Terry, North Melbourne wore themselves out.
Yeah.
It was good to see Carlton. What can take away from this? Carlton's game hardened. They put up with the pressure. They put up with the bad umpiring. They took it on the chin and they kept fighting. And I really commend them for that because that was a tough win. Regardless where they are on the ladder, North Melbourne are having a crack. And the other guy, he said they're going to be a good team. They're going to be a really hard team. And I'll tell you who's going to be really hard is Hawthorn. We are going to struggle against Hawthorn unless we get our stuff together.
Yeah.
We might drop another game, but look, don't worry about second. Carlton gets into the finals, these boys will go berserk. Not a problem.
I'm with you.
And they learned from last year in the preliminary final against Brisbane. They lost the game, but today they fought it out. If we'd have got all the calls that we should have got, and mind you, the same happened to North Melbourne. They got some calls that were shocking. Like Kennedy dropped the ball when he was running and kicked, and he missed the ball, and that should have been a free kick. There were several. The umpires need, I don't know, some reassurance, some training, they've got no confidence. They need eye tests. They need lobotomies. I don't know what they need, mate, but they're shocking. They're absolutely
I think that's what happens when you get the Sunday graveyard shift. You probably get the umpires that are at the bottom end of selection for the weekend.
Possibly, but Razor Ray got a few good decisions right in the end in the last quarter there. I was quite impressed. I thought, well, good on you, Razor. At least you're showing what should be done. But they're not accountable, and they've got to be accountable. The AFL are too much of a, what would you say, like the Communist Party, mate. You can't do anything against them. But the people have got to vote with their feet. And
I don't know. I
reckon
reckon the game's thriving, to be honest. I think.
Yeah, look,
You know, I think the game's in good shape. I mean, as in the competition's so even this late in the year. I don't know. I thought it was a pretty solid round of footy.
Solid round. I didn't watch too many other games. Going back in old days with the umpiring, they'd let a bit go, but any of that holding, they'd pull that straight up.
Yeah.
Not allowed.
Do
Absolutely
you
not
reckon the
allowed.
whistle goes away in finals? Do you reckon it all just evens out and then you get to finals and then like just generally the whistle just starts going away a bit more?
Yep. Yeah, they let it go in the finals for sure. But everyone's going harder on it, and you won't probably see as much of the hold. They'll hold until they blow the whistle. If they blow the whistle twice on a hold, the holding's gone, and that's my frustration. They can control the game, and I look, the umpires are, you're probably right. They're probably nervous. It's a graveyard shift, but the baggers are okay. They toughed that out. That was a tough game. They've got quite a few new players that are only playing their second game for a while. We're okay. We're in good shape. Geez, we need a third tall forward though. Owi's got us out of jail. He's the top of the square. Just kick it to the top of the square. Owi's will mark it.
Hey.
A pass that went into Kerno was good.
Yeah. Hey, I noticed you got a little pin on your hat there.
Yeah, got the pin happening.
Very good.
Absolutely. I got the other one on the shelf over here.
Love that.
Thanks, Steve. It's really good. Anyway, look, let's go to next week, and we've got Port at home, haven't we? We're not in Adelaide, are we?
We're in Melbourne next week, Port Adelaide. Then we've got the Pies at the MCG. So hopefully we get to chat to you. Hopefully we get to chat to you next Friday night.
And Rossi's a gun. Don't listen to all the banter. Rossi's welded the club together and the baggers. We love him. Beautiful.
Good on you, Jeff. Thanks for calling in, mate.
Take care, everybody. Thank you, Terry. Cheers.
See you, mate. Love that. So if you want a pin, by the way, got that one there. The BA shop, the link is pinned to the top of the live chat. I just saw Lynette. You got yourself a nice Blue Abroad stainless steel water bottle. So thank you very much. All right, let's move along. Who have we got here? We've got Anthony.
Terry,
Anthony.
how you going, mate?
Mate, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Main thing is, win's a win, move on. That's it. But I've got some points. I've got some good and ugly points. But the biggest thing is to see Cotters and Ollie lift this game. And we got to welcome back Hewitt and Motlop. That's the main one. Were you at the game as well?
I was at the game, yeah.
Did you enjoy the build-up for the Wolf when Sar kicked the goal?
I was curious as to whether we were going to do the Wolf, given he was at the top of the square. I thought that was one of the cool moments of the day, personally.
Because where I was, you could just hear everyone. They were just like, oh, he's going to get it. He's going to get it. Just like building up. And it's just like, he's going to release it. And then we release it. We just all go woof as loud as we can.
Yeah, no, it was a good moment. Look, I'm also noticing with Sard, we're starting to see a little bit more run and carry, which I think is what's going to make us a much more dangerous side when he's got the ball in his hands, breaking lines. I think some of the criticism about us and valid is we don't have enough of that run and carry, breaking lines through the middle of the ground, and I think he is the key in unlocking that. Yeah.
Another point I would love to see is Pito against Sherry. Because of the fact Sherry plays very hard and he's a good ruck. And giving that TDK, just I would like to see him have a rest. Because Pito actually did really well in the twos today. He actually did out-ruck Mason Cox because I was there. And I'm like, he's actually playing not bad. He's got, because Pito has a really good body on him. And matching the body up against Sherry would have been a nice matchup. And
so you were at the VFL, did you say?
Yeah, I was at the VFL. I saw him light it up.
I was going to say, can you shed some light on what we should be aware of from what you saw today in the VFL?
From what I saw, Binsey was just so quick. Cooper Lord was really impressive as well. Ashton Moyer actually had a little bit of an impact as well. I think he got 2 goals. And Kempy was also really solid, but he played 3 quarters. I actually didn't see him on the 4th. Same as Jack Martin. I think Jack got it behind and he didn't play the 4th. But Binsey and Pito played all 4. Lewis Young, he actually kept Mason a little bit quiet. Was a little bit, but he had an all right game. But I think tonight, the defense was a little bit... Sam Durden in the second half was all right. But I think missing Kemp and Gov.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, because I reckon Kemp, Wiedering, and Gov, the synergy between them is very, very strong.
I think the other thing to note as well, so Sam Durden plays his first game in,
Yeah.
I'm going to say 2 years.
Yeah, 2022, he played one.
And that was the game against Richmond, and he probably didn't play much that game either. He got hurt from memory.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a bit of adjustment to play at the level.
And he's actually not a bad defender.
Yeah.
He'll come along. The biggest thing is, I was a little bit iffy. I'm like, why was Fogarty down back? I'm like, I want to see his like pressure down forward. Like, I think this is after he got his 2 goals. I'm like, why is he down back? Cheryl, I think, started getting the move on in the second half, and I'm like, he's actually doing all right half back. But the biggest thing is, you've got some tough games coming up, and the one I'm really nervous about is against the Hawks.
Mate, that's
too
far down the track.
I like thinking down the track, but giving a 5-day turnaround, I'm hoping the boys pull up well.
Yeah,
because they got some really tough games. Power, Pies, and the Hawks, Eagles a little bit, and Saints might do a pushover. But it's just one week at a time. That's it.
1 week at a time. No, absolutely.
Yeah. But do you reckon? Do you reckon you like to see Pito up against Sweet?
I want to see how De Koning pulls up. He looked very sore today. So I don't know. I feel like the conversation changes every week.
What I saw is that he actually was on the AFL page. It said that he's injured, so I don't know. But I reckon Sweet has a bit of a body. Pito could match up against it, but Pito's just a ruck.
Yeah.
TDK has that ruck, ground ball, move it on, get the score involvement. But it's just actually, it was as simple as it. Win's a win, 5-day turnaround, be back for Friday, go to the Blues.
No, good stuff. Thanks so much for calling in, mate.
Bye.
See ya. Danny.
Hey, how are you, Tez?
Good to get you on, mate. We got you on. Good timing.
Nah, mate, that was really good. The match was good as well. Tale of two halves, isn't it? And it was Terry, tale of two halves, because I think it was 55-44 in the first half, and then we turned it around 63-33, I think. So that's how we turned it around. And I think Joel spoke about it as well, about the pressure rating, 128. Second quarter, 128. And they were 210, I think.
Wow.
So
that's a story in itself, isn't it?
It is, mate. It is. And to be honest with you, Tez, like, I love a win. 4 points are 4 points. Reiterate the point, because at the end of the day, no one's going to remember this game. But my takeaways, or I would say the pattern that I've noticed in the last 3 weeks, has been that structure around this, at the stoppage needs to be worked at. Hewitt actually played such a vital role, like, that defensive midfielder where he stopped that ball and tried to stop people trying to get to Cripps, because at the end of the day, you want Cripps to have the first access to the ball. He did that, and he's the point of difference for us around center clearance. So, especially when the center bounce is there, I think that's where we lose, because teams are bursting outside the center stoppage and at the center bounce, and then we can see that in repeat inside 50s, and then we cough up goals, because obviously if you keep trying, you concede. I think that's the first thing that we need to do, and I think it kind of just mirrors what happened in the first half, because a lot of our tackles that we were trying to make were not sticking. First half was literally the game that I've seen in the last, like, the first half was like last 2 games that we've seen against the Giants and the Doggies. But third quarter, when they came out, and I think I saw that one instance, I don't know if you noticed that, Tez, when Charlie marked the ball inside 50 and he was going to go and have a snap, Cottrell stopped him. And I think the score at the time was 56 to North Melbourne, and we were 61. Cottrell was like, no, take your time. We were not actually then, we were always in the lead. So we were never trailing North Melbourne since that point, because Charlie goes back, takes his time, kicks the goal. He has a good kick. And, sometimes he's actually a victim of his own success, mate. Because 4 goals too, you tell me any forward kicks 4 goals too, and you're like, nah, he's still copying all the slack and stuff. And yeah, he gave it to the crowd at the end. Fair enough. Sing us a song.
Do you know what? That might have been the first time I laughed and smiled on these fan cams. 1 hour and a half in, mate. Can you believe it?
All right. It was really amazing, mate. But really happy with the performance, to be honest, because as I said, as Tommy said, he's a big fan of Hewitt. I'm a big fan of Hewitt. What did you reckon? I really wanted to ask you this, but how good is Ovies? He's marking the ball. He had 2 marks inside 50, which he converted into goals, and he's not a tall.
You know what I thought of today? So I remember when I first interviewed Owies in 2019, and he said it himself, the ability to read the flight of the ball, the ability to position himself. He's got a pretty natural talent at it due to the basketball background. And the challenge for him was always to learn the craft of using his body. So when he took some of those marks today, I thought, I know that there's a frustration that we didn't beat the Roos by 10 goals, but for a guy like Matt Owies to show his ability to take those marks, that is something he was not able to do until, I don't remember him doing it too often, but if he starts adding this ability to now take one-on-one marks on his defender, we've got a guy that can read the ball well. We've got a guy that can take marks. I think it's an important subplot in the story of him. And then I think today is now the 5th time this season he's kicked 3 goals in a game. Like, this is a breakout year we're watching before our eyes, and if you look at everything else that's happening and what's going wrong and we didn't win by enough, and, if we're a real premiership team, then we win this game by 10 goals. If you focus on that, you miss that, this is the small forward that we wanted at the start of the year.
Mate, you nailed it. I have nothing more to say about Owies after that. That is so true. And you can't say just beating team by 10 goals is what defines you as a contender. That's stupid and that's bullshit, I feel. You gotta realize and you gotta respect the opposition. Sometimes the ladder lies, Terry. You can see Hawthorn is 12, 11, I think. It lies. I think they're top 14 for me. For me, on form, they're top 14. I think they're better than Brisbane. Brisbane lost today. They won today because Sydney was a player down. Sydney played crazy, but I'm not here to talk about Sydney and Brisbane. But what I'm saying is sometimes the ladder lies, and that's why you gotta North Melbourne in a couple of years, mate. They'll be the Hawthorn. Amazing. One thing that I noticed with Tom De Koning was that after obviously he had a knock, went down into the rooms, and then when he came back into the ground, because obviously a couple of free kicks we conceded when Kennedy was rucking against Cherry. What happened was then when TDK came back on the ground, I think it was Zoha who was just breaking the line and he was bursting towards inside 50. Tom De Koning was not that far away from him. He was just jogging. So I think he obviously would have had instructions that you're injured, just preserve your body for the hit outs and the center bounces, and that's probably it. But he actually still played amazing. But I feel, Terry, I would not risk TDK in the next game. I would just play Pitto. Because at the end of the game, he didn't even finish the game, TDK, and he won him fit in fighting for the finals. So that was one thing. I really wanted to ask you this question. What did you reckon about Chera playing at halfback? What was your observation in the live?
I don't mind trying it. I thought after chatting with Pommy throughout the week, I thought, okay, maybe we start seeing him a little bit more on the wing, a bit more outside. It's one of those ones where I just don't know, like most of the things. But I believe Chera's best position is in and around the ball. I saw that we bring Hewitt in. We play a little bit more of Jack Carroll around the ball. I'm happy to just watch it and react. I don't know. I'll tell you what I thought about Chera, though. I thought some of his contests, he didn't go as hard as what I know him to go. I thought the one where George Wardlaw just shrugged him, I thought, Ches, you're better than that. So I wonder if him playing halfback ruins his mental application to contests because he's playing in a different way and he's thinking about the game in a different way. But yeah, there was some contests there where I thought we need him to be better. But otherwise, I think he's going to be okay. I think he's good enough to figure it out. He just hasn't been able to figure it out yet.
True. And what you said in the contest, and that's what happened in last week as well against, the game that we played against the Doggies, that when he had first access to the ball, Pitto was amazing. I didn't come last week, but I'll just quickly touch up on Pitto. Pitto was amazing. The hit-outs that he had to advantage was amazing. It's just that when Chera had the first access to the ball, he ended up coughing and doing nothing with the ball, and then turnover straight away. So, to be honest with you, good win. Gotta realize that North Melbourne is they're playing really good footy, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna take one big scalp before the end of the season. I don't know who it's gonna be. Could be who are they versing next week? I think they're playing Geelong. Don't know, but whoever they're versing, mate, they may take them. They are playing really good, and one game at a time, as you said, Terry. And I feel, and maybe controversial and probably like unpopular opinion, but we play better when we play off a shorter break. We saw that against, I think, Port. I think last time it was Port as well. When
it was a 5-day break against Port. You're right.
Yeah. So I think we'll play amazing. And the other thing that I wanted to just quickly touch up before for the curtains, I would say that the thing that I've seen that, finishing top 2 is so important. Why top 2 is important is because the psychology that you take, or, that mental advantage that you take towards the finals footy. Because finals footy, you don't have uncontested balls. It's all contested. It's all around stoppages. So I feel having a home final, even though we've been Brisbane, we've been Adelaide and Adelaide Oval, we've had those wins there. We've never had a win in, say, a decade. So it's been going great again. But Mike, to be honest with you, so happy that Mudlove was back, had his 3 goals. Can't wait, Mike. Can't wait to actually have a proper structure. I think this game, and I feel like a couple other weeks until we play the Pies, our teams, I feel like, should be locked in, and we should know what our best 22 looks like.
Yeah, well said. Good on you, Danny. Thanks for calling in, mate. Good to get you on.
Cheers, my friend. Have fun, Tez. Go Blues.
Go Blues. Andy.
Hey, Tez. How are you?
Good, mate. How are you?
There's a saying to this game. It's when the going gets tough, we survive another day.
Mate, we're the hunted now. Teams want us. They want our heads. They want our necks because it means something.
Heads cut off.
Yeah.
Oh boy, this game really challenged me in terms of like severe emotion. It's one of those games that you'd just be better off forgetting about. Really. I mean, we're happy we maintained the 4 points. I'm happy for that. I mean, we beat who we beat regardless. Like, I'd love to be North by 60, but sometimes we need to have these games like this to make sure that we don't get too far ahead of time. And this game was, it wasn't significant to our current season. It wasn't really that interesting to look upon. But it's there. It's there for those that want to look at it. It's similar to that of the Battle of Mid back in World War II, right? It only lasted for a couple days back in 1942. Barely anyone knew what it was. It was insignificant in contrast to the other major events that happened during then. And, well, people just research about it because they're curious. And this game is like a curious case study as to how we maintain this sort of training. It's a weird game to watch, this one, Terry. It's very weird.
I think it's been said a few times tonight. First of all, love the World War II reference. And if Pommy's in the chat, I think he'll love it as well. Secondly, that's very nuanced and I'm all about it. But secondly, I think what's been said rings true. I mean, once we wake up tomorrow, get through the ratings and the review and all of that tomorrow, I just can't see us talking about this game for much more than what we have to right now. So
yeah, I mean, it's one of that goes in the back of their brain, rotting there to be forgotten about for ages to come. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because football's like a cruel long season. It's tedious, but if we get the job done in moments that really do count, regardless of where we are at the ladder, regardless of the results, as much as we dare to dream, we just have to face the facts. We have to live in the present and not focus so much on the future. Like, why am I worried about Hawthorn for? Why? Why would I be worried about them? Let's worry about us for a minute here.
Mate, absolutely love that. Spot on. I'm a bit surprised to see that. There's a lot of Hawthorn reference tonight. Like, that's 3 weeks away.
Like, I mean, okay, we have Port next week. Let's focus on that game until next Friday, which I might be going to that one, hopefully. There's the Collingwood rematch the week after that. But all I am right now is to focus on the present, focus on where these boys are currently at right now. I mean, we sit second still on the ladder, 2 points ahead of Brisbane and Freo, which is great, but we need to start focus again. I can't stress how many times I've got to say it, but let's stop focusing so much on our future and focus so much on what we're going to do right now. Right here, 1 hour, 49 seconds in, whatever the hell that is. You just focus on that.
Well said, Andy. Love your work. Thanks for calling in and giving a really cool perspective.
Yeah, I mean, and if I can offer one quick thing, but before I go, I'd like to offer my own little insights on the rocking situation here.
Sure.
Because it's a bit of an interesting case thing here too. So, like, for example, if we were to play a game in the SCG from Sydney's home deck, do we play 1 or 2 rucks up there? Because the ground is normally much smaller than that of the G, right? If we play a game at Optus Stadium, do we play with 1 or 2 rucks there? Over there? Do we, if we play even in Tasmania, if Hawthorn hosts a game where we have them over in Tasmania, do we consider, like, the ground size? Do we consider, like, the ruck? How many rucks we need is depending on how big or small the ground is? This is the thing that's always got me for some reason. It's been stuck in my head for a fair while now, and I want to see what you think on it.
Mate, I feel like the ruck conversation is just this Pandora's box of, if we win, whoever is playing in the ruck that game, we end up saying, see, told ya, it's 1 ruck or 2 ruck. If we lose, it's, gee, I wish we had the other ruck in, or why did we play 2? It's, I don't know. There are people who are paid more than me and you and everyone else who are paid to make that decision, and I don't even know if they know, to be honest.
It's honestly beyond me. It's like, it depends. I've said it's like the ground scenario. It's like, it's endless because the possibilities are endless. You just got to be careful with who you select, because if you select, you select who you select. They all deserve at the end of the day, but you've got to be cautious. Like, you've got to think before you act. It's a simple act structure. It's like that with the movies as well. There's like 3-act structure. The first act is your thinking act. Sometimes it introduces the world to the characters, what we are, where we're currently at. The second act is where the stakes increase in value. It's where it tends to rise the stakes. It starts to get a lot more ambitious. And then the third act, which is the equivalent of the fourth quarter in most football games, is the climax. As to how far we focused on it, how far we maintain this sustainability, how far we keep control qualities in check. It's like this too, in a sense. And everything is an analogy with me. Sometimes I just love spitting them out, and I can't blame myself for it.
No, it's all good. Again, thanks for calling in. See you next Friday.
You're good, Taz. Let's just focus on the present from here on out, guys.
No doubt.
Keep saying that.
Good on you, mate.
Anyway,
Thank you.
Up the baggers, people! Up the bloody baggers!
See you, mate. Paul Sebastiani.
He loves it, Andy. he loves it.
There's a good point to be made. You know, we can look far ahead, but the moment is all that matters.
Good balanced views. I think, it's... look, if you look at the game in isolation, I don't think the performance and, you can look at the result. The performance was nowhere near the level that we need to be at the pointy end of the season. But then there's also a point with which the result has to take sway over the performance. And I think it was one of those nights. The first half was diabolical. Let's not beat around the bush. The first half was terrible.
Mate.
Shocking.
The anger in the crowd was it was actually amazing. It was
good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, and it should have been that. It should have been that, because at the end of the day, and we uttered this phrase many a time in the past, times may change, but standards must remain. And the standards for the majority of that game were nowhere near the level. Nowhere near the level. And it took a decent push in the third term to get ahead of them. And even the last quarter was still... Yeah, there were still a few dodgy moments in that last term. again, George Hewitt confirmed why he should still be in this team, and that perplexing decision to not play him for a fortnight just, I mean, you can ruin a season. You can ruin the season of a player doing that. But because he's so professional, the way he went back to the reserves and the way he returned today, I mean, it just shows you the mindset of a player like him. He started so well. He continued his good form from this season. Doesn't fumble the ball. Was hitting up Charlie all night, and looked really, really strong. I really liked Jack Carroll's game. I thought he was fantastic tonight. Real drive and penetration through the middle, something that we really lacked, I think, for a lot of the night. And for me, this is, and North have a lot of talented players, right? But I mean, this team has come off being absolutely flogged by Sydney last week, with a host of inexperienced players there today. And they looked really good, which should not have ever been the case, right? This game should have been put to bed as soon as the siren went. This game should have been done and dusted early on so we could rest a few blokes later in the piece because we've got a 5-day backup. Some weird moves. Like seeing Matthew Kennedy line up at fullback, I mean, I don't know.
What do you make of Chera to halfback to start the game?
Well, they had to make a move. I thought it was the right move to get him out of the middle and get him free, but it was the same problem with him as it was last week. The lack of intensity around the ball and at the contest. It's not. Remember when I said to you last week, forget about stats, forget about numbers, forget about what he does with regards to, his defensive output and whatnot. Strip that all back, right? And go back to the basic premise of what you're supposed to do when you're out there. When it's your time to go, you got to go, right? He had some moments here in one-on-one situations where he got beaten on every single occasion. Credit to him, his second half was probably a bit better, right? But it should be, Terry. It should be. The bare minimum of what we expect, right, should not be to applaud performances with which you should be able to put out week in, week out, right? The bare minimum is when there's an aerial contest, when there's a hard ball to be won, when there's a 50-50 contest, you don't just shirk the task. The lack of intensity was poor, and it was plagued throughout the team in the first half, right? There were a handful of blokes like Hewitt and Carroll. They were strong in the first half, did what they could. But you see when it just doesn't really go our way, what do we start to do? We fold back and fold back and fold back and fold back. And then we leave all the space between our forward line and our defensive half. And North Melbourne just cut their way through the lines because we kept dropping out. There was a play right in front of me on the wing in the second half. North Melbourne got the ball and we all just sat back. All up. What are you waiting for? What are you scared of? The lack of want or will to go through the corridor. And the moment we started moving it, Saad was the one who started it all, like last week. He was the one who said, "Boys, we need to run. Where's the overlap here? What's going on? We've got to attack the contest. We've got to start running and underlapping and overlapping and running ahead of the ball."
He's really started to get more confidence with his body, Saad. He's really starting to.
He's sensational, mate. He's so good. He's that play where there were 4 North Melbourne players converging on him, and then he just flashed out of there in the blink of an eye. He's elite, mate. He's a finals player. He's on another plane at the moment. Sam Durden. I mean, his second game for the club. He's been in the VFL for God knows how long. What more can we expect? It wasn't a great game, but I don't know. Tonight. Right, so I'm trying to look at it from the majority of the season, from a holistic point of view with regards to the season. So we sit second and we need to set ourselves up for a home qualifying final. At the moment, we've done that, right? We come up against Port Adelaide this week, and everything is it. Forget about what Sydney does or Brisbane does. Don't worry about those results. We've just got to do what we've got to do, right? And that's just
we're in control right now. We're not asking for other teams to lose.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
exactly right. So we need to go out there and put tonight. The performance was that if we're going to perform like that from now till season's end, it's going to be an uphill battle, and it always is, regardless. But yeah, tonight was just one of those nights where just get out of there and run and get some blokes back. We do look a bit banged up, which is a bit of I don't know. He's had a bit of a concern. Like Tom De Koning was hobbling, but he battled through really hard tonight. I liked Ollie Holland's game. I thought he was really good. I really liked his defensive efforts. A few important spoils as well in some moments where he had to close and he did well. And I know he had a few errant kicks, but he's still doing the right thing.
Well, he took the kick on. He wasn't afraid to take the kick.
No, you had to. Someone had to, Terry. Someone had to step up in those moments. And for me, Charlie did what he had to do. You know, he kicked his 4 goals and looked pretty solid tonight, rightfully so. So he should against that opposition. But again, like Cripps does what he does, but it's you know, it was Hewitt, it was Carroll, it was Hollands, it was Fogarty again, it was Matt Owies. Jesse Motlop comes into the team for the first time and does a job. You know, so it's we went back to those players who, you know, when our ceiling is not quite reaching the heights, what's your floor? Are they stepping up to the occasion? And they did today, right? So, look, again, credit to North, they did well, but like that pressure rating in the second set was 128, whatever those numbers mean. But that's just, it's nowhere near the level, mate.
Never again. It should actually never dip to that level again for the rest of the year.
But no, you shouldn't even have to be told. That's where we're at now. You shouldn't even have to be told that you know what the level is. So do you think, and I don't know if this is true to a point, but do you think maybe that they've just got one little eye just looking ahead?
Well,
it's hard not to. It's hard not to.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and they're no different to us. The only difference is they have control because they're on the inside, but they're Carlton people, just like what we are.
Yeah.
We're looking ahead. We're looking at the ladder. We're looking at, you know, I actually said this earlier. I'm like, Brisbane putting up a fight today. I'm like, it's actually it might be good for us because if you're a player,
kick up the arse, isn't it?
Yeah, you got someone there on your ass that's actually a threat. And I just think naturally, if you're a human being, of course you're looking at the ladder. Of course you do it. You think they're not doing predictors? You know,
I must admit, I did get sucked into that the other day.
Mate, how can you not?
Yeah,
it's fun. It's fun.
No,
it's footy. You know?
Yeah, you dream of glory, mate. You dream of glory. And you have to, because if you don't think it, don't see it, don't visualize it, you'll never achieve it.
Like Adelaide the other night, they're talking about someone, I can't remember who it was post game. He was saying, you know, we've got so and so in the ladder, and they were talking about Hawthorn and Collingwood, and like if you're a player and you're that invested in this sport, it's your life. You know, it's the way you make a living. You're looking at everything. You know,
of course, and like I said, I think it's hard not to, and you have to visualize that, and you have to see it, and you have to think it and believe it, because if you don't, it'll never manifest itself out onto the field, right? Now I think, do you know what? I think this 5-day break is perfect for us.
You got no time to think.
You just got to go out there, minimal training, focus on skills. All this week now, all we can do now, the mindset you have to take is one training session at a time, one recovery session at a time, one drill at a time. You just got to strip it all back as you do week in, week out, and that's how you'll perform to a high level. That's how you will perform. Whether or not they do that this week, we will find out on Friday night. But the backup, I think, is perfect for us, because you don't have time to dwell on this game. Boys, it's done and dusted. We've got a Port Adelaide team who are desperate.
Yes.
Desperate. And I don't want to see what happened against the Bulldogs last week, where we were outfought, outworked, you know, outloaded around the contest, outnumbered around the ball. I don't want to see that, because our desperation level should be as high, if not higher, than any other team around us. You know, we're going through a premiership drought. These players have been, I say, starved of success in inverted commas, but, you know, from a cup point of view, it's not been there. And, you know, that should spur you on enough to be able to, you know, defeat an opposition like Port, who's, you know, their season's pretty much on the line every week. You know, and a home final should just be, you should be licking your lips, but it's just, again, it's got to just be week-to-week proposition. Port Adelaide this week at home, Friday night at Marvel Stadium. Hopefully get Mitch McGovern back, who, let's be honest, he's one of, if not one of, he's one of our most important players. One of our
Every
most
time he's not
players.
there is when I think we truly appreciate him.
As soon as he gets the ball, he's gone. He's off and gone. He reads the play so well. He's a beautiful user of the ball. You know, he's a 70-metre player, mate. He marks it, travels 10, kicks it 60. You know, and always looks to hit up, always looks to take that option. So Look, again, we know the performance is probably not at the level, right, today. Having said that, there has to be a point with which results have to take precedence at a certain point in time, and today they probably have. And you know what? We'll truly find out how we're going against Port Adelaide this week. This is probably the toughest test we're going to face in the next couple of weeks. So Friday night we'll have another answer. There's questions to be asked.
I want to ask you one more before we wrap up. Who that is not in the side do you think? I mean, you said Gov, but who else, in your view, do you want to see in the side?
Well, Binns was phenomenal today in the reserves. You know, from an output perspective, had his best game ever, 48 touches and 3 goals. If they want to swap something up from a wing perspective or they want to give him a go, by all means. The midfield is just a little bit off.
It's just not.
Just a little bit off.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit off. I think the fact that they changed it 2 or 3 weeks ago has just messed a bit with the cohesion. It had its patches during the game, but it was just a little bit off. I know Hewitt and Carroll were solid, but they're not at an optimal level at the moment as a unit, as a midfield unit, right? Do they debut a guy like Cooper Lord, who's been really strong in the reserves? I'll tell you what, the one thing I've loved about the reserves this year, and I think the one thing I've really liked in the last month, is that during this little bit of a dip in the senior side, the guys in the VFL, there are guys who are belting down the door. Whereas if it was a scenario where, God, geez, the VFL boys, geez, they're struggling. Who do we pick? At least the guys that are coming in are in form. Like I know Cunningham was sub today. He's been solid the last month. Motlop comes in today. He's been really good the last month. The VFL comes in, kicks 3 goals. Durden, look, what you see is what you get. We know he's limited, comes in, does a job for a week or 2, and then he'll probably make way for another player. Kemp was good today. Maybe they'll bring him back. The beauty is that there are options.
So many options, man.
But then that could also be a fatal flaw.
We're used to picking a side because there's been an injury issue, so you're out of necessity. Now there's too many options, and I think the other factor is the VFL won't be playing finals, so you've got X amount of weeks coming up. Once the season ends, you don't have practice matches to show form, so you got to get in. You got to get in now, otherwise you're not playing.
No, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. I think there are a few that have locked their spot away, but there are definitely going to be a few question marks that are asked of some individuals. I think I don't want to harp on about him again, but George Hewitt he just has to play. He has to play every week.
Yeah,
it's not even you saw what he did in that first. Man, he was the only midfielder in the first half that was hitting, and that's probably his. That's probably it's probably a weakness of his, but his kicking tonight was exemplary, I thought. I also want to commend, and Brian Cook said something, and it has rung true in my head for the last couple of months when they asked him about the injuries and the injury crisis that we've been going through. And he said, some players are just more resilient than others. Tom de Koning has been absolutely belted from pillar to post for the last month, but he just keeps rocking up. He just keeps willing himself. And I don't think it's a side we ever thought I don't think it was a skill set that we ever thought was really a massive asset for him. Not to say that he was poor or anything like that, but it's just another layer of his game and his mindset that he's added that I don't think a lot of us really expected. He's just a warrior, mate. He just fights, mate, and fights and fights. He was sore, and he's been sore for a long time. Maybe they look to give him a rest this week with Pitternet, who's been in good VFL form. So the options are great, but like I said, they can also be a fatal flaw. So look, as much as the performance at the ground, people were getting aggro, everyone was a bit upset with the performance. At the end of the day, it's a bloody tough season. It's a grind. We just got to keep winning. You got to get yourself a home qualifying final at the G. That's the aim. That's the medium-term aim in the next 5 weeks. But it's all about Port Adelaide in 5 nights' time, mate. Friday night lights, 45,000 there at Marvel Stadium. We haven't had Friday night lights at Marvel Stadium this year.
True.
Nice occasion. Nice occasion. So we move.
We move. I'll see you at Marvel on Friday night.
You shall indeed. Go
All right,
Blues.
mate. See
Ciao.
ya. All right. Hey, Ben.
Hey, mate.
How are you?
Not bad yourself.
Yeah, I'm all right. I think I'm getting a little bit more content with the win as the night goes on.
Yeah, you just have to put me on after Paul, after he stole every single point I wanted to talk about, basically.
Mate,
Um,
I got time for anything you want to talk about.
Well, I'm in WA at the moment working, and I was on a 8-hour long drive, so I missed the first half and 5 minutes of the game. What was the first half like? Basically, I just want to know because when
Don't
I
watch
came
it.
in, I'm not going to. When I started watching, we were 18 points down, and from then on, we kicked the 11 goals to 4. So that's what I saw. I saw 11 goals to 4 and a bit sloppy, but want to know what happened basically.
It was a lack of defensive application. It was a poor display of defensive application around the ground, and I think that's the summary. You know, you can talk about little bits and pieces, but like, what was the actual theme? People have come on and mentioned the pressure rating in the first half, particularly in the second quarter, and I think that was the story. But oftentimes, like, you know, we get sucked into it as fans as well. You get to halftime and everyone's sort of drawing a conclusion at halftime as if it's full time. You know, it was a shit first half. Yeah, they responded in the second half, and it's a game of 4 quarters, and it just was part of the ebbs and flows of the game. But
absolutely.
You do not need to watch the first half.
No, I'm watching the VFL after this, so
yeah, that's a good
I'm
call
set for the night.
Yeah.
I want to say though, from the second half that I watched, I was very impressed with again our not lesser players, but our sort of B grade talents in our Owies, and I thought they really stood up when they needed to. I thought Ollie Hollands had his best game in 2 months. Like, he was fantastic. I think, not that he might not have known, but with Binns, he might have seen a bit of Binns' game and thought, fuck, that's a little bit of a kick up the arse that I need. And I thought he was actually very good in the third quarter. Helped set us up. His run was great. Motlop, breath of fresh air. He was awesome, I thought. Pressure. Brought everything we wanted him to bring from the preseason. But yeah, I thought our younger players stood up today, which was a good positive thing. Instead of relying on Cripps all the time. Yeah,
I have a feeling in about 4 weeks from now, if we look back on this game, we'll talk about the fact that it was the list. It was a bit of a squad game. You got guys who may not be in the side in 3-4 weeks, but came in, played a role. I'm thinking of Sam Durden, comes in to fill in for McGovern. I'm thinking of Jack Carroll. I don't know if he's going to stay in the side. These types. So you got to rely on your squad to get you through the season, and I think that might be what tonight will show us.
And also, like, a thing on Sardi specifically, he's, as a supporter, he's a little bit frustrating because it always waits till half time till he explodes. After half time and Newman hasn't done his thing, if Newman's not doing his thing, he then goes. And he's the player off the halfback. And I just wish sometimes in the first half he takes it on and makes his opponent accountable and say, hey, I'm here all day, sort of thing. But I thought he was really good. Very important again. He's, getting his confidence back from injury. But, yeah, I'm a little bit I'm not really worried with what I'm trying to say. Like, I think it's pretty good. Got the 4 points, but I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. Just having a look at it now. I think Matt Owies has kicked 29 goals for the year. Pretty sure that's what's happened. So he's about to hit. He's about, or maybe 26. Anyway, maybe we'll look at that. That's a tomorrow's conversation. But
that would stack up against any small forward in the comp. He'd be in the top 5, you'd think.
I still remember the start of the year. Can we find a small forward that can kick 30+ goals in a season? It was the big question. So
yeah, no, he's been awesome.
Yeah.
Again, I was sort of in the group of sort of, he's going to be a third small forward, Durden and Motlop sort of thing, but far out, he's taken it by the scruff of the neck and no chance I'll ever drop him if he's fit.
Yeah. Fair.
No way.
Fair. Fair.
So, yeah.
Good stuff, mate. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for calling in, and speak to you Friday night.
Will do. Have a good one, man.
Hey, Ben. All right. Hey, I've got a few more guys, and then we're going to play the presser, but I'm going to do it a little differently. So I've downloaded the audio from the presser, so I won't play the video of it, and then we can listen to the presser. It's about as good as I've got it. We're going to try and work our way around YouTube and the AFL, and be a little bit not cheeky, but we want to hear the presser together. Anyway, Lewis, you're back, mate.
Hey Terry, how are you?
Welcome. You look at 10, man. You're sun-kissed. You've come back.
Yeah, well, I got my iced coffee here.
Iced coffee.
Yeah.
What's the story, mate?
Well, I'm almost back on Wednesday. I'm almost back in Melbourne on Wednesday. So.
Oh, where are you now? Sorry, I thought you were back already.
I'm in Athens. I'm in Athens now. I'm almost gonna jet off to Dubai soon, and then I'll be back in Melbourne. So.
Welcome.
That's the plan. This game was just so many emotions and stress. But it's one of those games where the bottom 4 team just learns its lesson from last week and just comes out firing this week. And we need to understand, I think the one thing that I am just seeing is that our second quarters are just not good quarters. They're bad.
It's a good call.
Our first, third, fourth quarters, they're fine, especially our third quarter. So that's when we will come out that premiership quarter like we've always been famous for. But we need to fix that, especially when it comes to our defense, because I saw the highlights and Wiedering was furious that he let Larky took one mark. And I think him being that general defender, he knows what needs to be done. He's the one that tells the players where to go and be set up. And George Hewitt, I heard, was good around the contest. Really good to see him back. I think like others say that he
Did you watch it?
Needs to stay. No, I watched the radio. I listened to the radio, and I watched Pommy's watch along just to get around the ground, just to know what's going on. But what I didn't know what was going on was just about how many times we made it look too easy in the first half. When there were so many times where in the midfield, our clearance work around the ground as well. Where has that gone in the last 4 weeks? But I think to me, I'm not worried about that. It's just about getting our defense right. In the last 5 weeks.
Well, let's look ahead, because we can talk about the first half. Because we can talk about the first half, but the reality is there was another half after that. So
exactly.
What do we need to do moving forward now? Because that's all we've got right now, the next game.
Well, like what Guy said, just look into the now. Look into what we need to control. We have to control what we can control. We can't just depend on other teams losing. I mean, it's going to help us, but we are in control of our own destiny here. I mean, this is our season, not theirs. So what we need to do is just reflect on the game, review it, and go from there. I mean, it's good to see, a lot of our players stood up, like Jesse Motlop. Really great to see him kicking goals like he used to. Good to see Cottrell regain some form a little bit. And Charlie Curnow, I mean, I know we all are hard on him. I know a lot of fans are hard on him because he's such a star player. But I think to me, I think this performance can help him just find his goal kicking again. And by the way, I think to me, when it comes to Adelaide, I do agree with you. I think Penrith does come back in. Penrith does come back in.
Yeah.
McGovern as well for Sam Durden.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, I'm very happy because Essendon lost. Like, nothing's better than Essendon losing. Love it. I love seeing Koken got smashed and Carlton winning on my birthday. So it was really great to see Carlton
Today's your
winning
birthday?
on my birthday. Yeah, it was my birthday today. Carlton won on my
Mate,
birthday.
happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you so
How
much.
young today?
Huh? What's that?
How young are you today?
I'm 21 now.
Wow. You're a man.
I'm 21. Yeah.
21 in Athens? Mate. Amazing.
Yeah, I was 21 in Athens. It's great to reach that milestone. Now I just hope that I don't go through any more of that stress.
I'll tell you one
Seriously.
thing.
What's that?
You will absolutely be going through that type of stress again.
I know.
Just
But
buckle up.
I know, but this morning I prayed. I went to church and I prayed. I prayed that Carlton was the flag, and I prayed no more stress.
Yeah.
But it looks like no. But
No, that's good.
anyway,
Well, I can see people wishing you a happy birthday. If you're in the live chat, wish Lewis a happy birthday. Happy 21st.
Thank
Have
you,
a good time
guys.
in Athens, and we'll see you next week, mate.
Yeah, Tez, you'll see me next Friday at the game against Port. So,
all right, mate.
Anyway, see you on Friday and up the baggers.
See you, mate. 21 in Athens on the fan cams. I just love it. I honestly, I just love it. Aiden, he's here.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, mate. What's happening?
Nothing much. I missed half the fan cams because my phone died when I was coming home. So what are people saying? Like, I feel like there's a lot of mixed emotions from that. And how do you feel about it?
Let's worry less about what people are saying. Let's worry more about what you think. What do you think? What did you see today?
I felt like the midfield let us down in the first half.
What about the second half?
Second half, third quarter, we did really well. Our pressure really increased a lot. It's like whenever we use Sard properly, we look like a better team. If I'm being honest, but
Mate,
that fourth quarter
Did you come on here? Did you come on here the other week and talk about the need to get the ball in his hands and run and carry a bit more? I think it was you.
I think so.
I think it was you, mate. We don't have many players that can do it. It's just clearly Adam Sard that needs to run and carry more for us, I think.
Why don't we like use him more then? Like it's like that we're like too scared to use him. Like that's the thing. Like I saw last week, like I don't want to talk about last week, but yeah, like I don't know. But look, it's mixed emotions really for me. But look, I thought Cottrell was okay. I love Jack Carroll today. He was really, really good. But I feel like we've lost, as Paul said, I feel like we've lost that midfield synergy a little bit. And I do feel like we need to go back to what worked like in that 5-week run. Because I don't know why they've changed it, but what they're doing right now in that midfield, it's not really working. But I do feel like hopefully, like it's not long till Friday, let's be honest. They need to figure out something quick. Because if I'm being honest with you, that Port Adelaide's midfield, if we play like how we did in the last 2 weeks in the midfield, then they're going to have a field day. And they really need to get to work. But I do think that we'll be fine. 4 points is what it matters at the end. But yeah. I'm just glad we won, man. Seriously.
I'm going to name a few players for you. Tell me if you think any of these blokes should be in next week. McGovern, Kemp, Boyd, Jack Martin. Maybe I'll start with those 4.
McGovern,
Williams.
yeah.
Zach Williams.
McGovern, yep, has to. Kemp, yep, I watched his game today. He cannot ever be in the VFL again. Williams, it really depends on how he is.
I think he won't be ready. I think he won't be ready. I think it's a couple of weeks. Yeah.
But who else did you say? Boyd, depends on how he'll be fine. He has to be fine. So yeah, 3 Martin, I'd say give him another week. But then again, he would be pretty helpful in our forward line. But look, McGovern, Boyd, who else? Kemp, they worked really well in that 5-game winning run. And there's again today we saw that lack of synergy in the defense again. So if you bring them three back and if you fix up the midfield, then I do think that we will see our best very soon. But yeah, it's in our hands really. Like if they want a home qualifying final, it's up to them. We can only do so much. But yeah, I reckon we'll be fine. But we'll figure this game pretty quickly, I think.
I think so too, mate. Nah. Any last thoughts before we move on?
Just get second. That's it.
All right.
Just get second. That's it.
What about first?
Oh yeah, probably that's a possibility. I think, but anything can happen. It's a tight season. If we get first, happy days. If we get second, I love it. I just want a home qualifying final. That's it.
Love it. All right, man. Thanks for calling in.
Good. See ya.
See ya. Andrew, the ball of truth.
Cheers. What's happening, man?
Hey, look at the setups we've got, mate. Look at this.
I know it's a bit all over the shop, but no
Hey,
Man
look,
United,
great.
man.
You've done with the Man United for the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to turn you up. Yeah, just till the Premier League starts again, man. But how you feeling, bro, after that?
I think the first hour could still sense the frustration, and then we're in the third hour now of this, 2 hours and 10 minutes. But now it's starting to kick in. The game's done. Don't have to think about it. Like, I mean, we'll review it tomorrow, do the ratings, blah blah blah. But it was just, I felt going into the game this just unease because nothing was ever going to be good enough. You win by 10 plus goals, it's only North Melbourne. You win by less than 10 goals, it's not good enough. You lose, it's fucking Frank Zuma at the front of Icon Park tomorrow, eyeballing blokes asking what's going on,
Bad.
Yeah.
Man, I feel ya. Like the first half, have you seen Billy Madison?
Yeah.
I was the bus driver, bro. I'll turn this damn bus around. That's how I felt, man. I was
that is elite.
red.
Oh my god, that is absolutely elite from you.
I was like shaken because I was just so frustrated at what I was seeing. And I don't know who mentioned it, man. Was it Aiden? Our second quarters, man. We've copped 20 goals in 3 weeks.
Yes.
In second quarters. So 7 against Giants, 7 against Bulldogs, and 6 tonight against North. Fucking fries me.
I didn't pick up on it, but when Aiden said it, it's the worst. Our second quarters are diabolical, mate. Like,
I don't know what happens, man. It's like
we a lot of damage gets done.
Yeah. I don't know what happens in our second quarters, but also like throughout the season, man, when we go to about 5 or 6 goals up, we tend to just like foot off the gas and other teams just come at us. Happens all the time. And I don't know if the second quarter is that same mindset or something, man. I don't know. But bus driver thoughts. Alarm bells were ringing, man. I wasn't happy. But
I think it's this one. Hang on.
Throw your sandwich at the bus driver. Do it, come on. Hey, who threw that?
I'll turn this damn bus around. That'll end your precious little field trip pretty damn quick, huh? Shit.
Oh, so good. I'm crying, man. I'm crying.
Man, to a T, literally. It's fucked.
So good. I'm crying, bro.
Oh, look, lucky we turned it around, but that's exactly how it was, man. Far out. I don't want to see.
Look, they were messing around with it. They were fluffing. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it was just more the pressure, man. Our pressure just went down. I don't know. North looked good. What a movie, man.
Yeah.
Chat's gone nuts.
Yeah. So zooming out, though, the game's done. Obviously, a bit of frustrating. Get the 4 points, the main thing. Where do we sit with 5 games to go? Like, how are we placed for you?
I think we are exactly where we deserve to be, second.
Right. Yeah.
But it just frustrates me a little bit, like the losses against Adelaide. Even the Giants one I'll put in there. Should have probably buried them. Could have been a different story, but woulda, coulda, shoulda, she didda. Who gives a fuck? We're second. And like everyone's saying, man, as long as we just keep winning and don't worry about any other side, that's it. Just look forward now and see how we go, man. Home final. That's the goal.
I remember asking people what is a healthy percentage people want, and I think generally the consensus was 120. So
That's
you
big.
get to the end of the season, you get to 120%. Great. So right now, 18 games played, 114.5%, 12 wins, 6 losses.
Yep. I'd be happy with that, man.
On the way.
Yeah. Just before I let you go, I thought Carroll was awesome. I know people have mentioned Carroll tonight. I thought he was great in that like crucial time that we needed him in the middle. And I thought Ollie Holland's defensive work tonight was fucking sick. Loved it.
Good call.
But see how
Love
we
it.
go, man.
Mate, when do we see the ball of truth? What's the update? What's coming up?
I'll probably drop an episode midweek preview for Port Adelaide, but then I went live straight after the game, man, to release, so you guys can check me out there. But yeah, after every game, man, go on live. Thanks to you. So thank you, Terry.
No, mate,
and
pleasure.
Blue Abroad.
My pleasure. Have a good night. Thanks for calling
You
in.
too,
and
bro.
See you Friday.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
No worries, man. See ya. Hey, Bevtone. He's gifted 5 memberships to people. 5 Blue Abroad memberships. Thank you, mate. If you received one of those memberships, please say thank you. All right, let's move along. Dan?
Yo, Tezza.
Mate, how are ya?
Oh, yeah, that was an interesting one.
It was an interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously a win's a win, which is good. It's always good. I'll take it. But yeah, I don't know. It was just obviously it was everyone had eyes on a bigger win, but it was disappointing that first half. Jeez, I got texts from all mates and stuff like pressure ratings was 120 and all that kind of stuff, and I was just like, where have we gone? Where did we go from quarter time with the Giants? That's what I just don't understand. And it's just very hot and cold at the moment, so I don't know. Hopefully that second half,
Overall, I mean, obviously, if we look at the first half in isolation, that's one thing. But where do you think it sits when you take into account what happened overall in the match?
I can't take any confidence out of it at the moment.
Fair.
Yeah. Just because it's too inconsistent. It wasn't a complete game.
Yeah.
So if I look at the other teams that are putting up wins at the moment, like your Hawks and your Frios and Lions, etc., they're just putting in the full game. Like what we were doing, just a couple of weeks ago. So that's the only concerning bit.
Did the second and third did the second and third quarter balance each other out, or do you think we were worse in the second quarter as what we were better in the third quarter?
I think we were probably a bit worse, personally. I think we just played to our strengths and we just played to what we are, who we can be in the third quarter. So we didn't go above and beyond in the third, but the second was just, really, really poor. Anyway, what do you do? It's
hey, you know what you do? You front up 5 days time, Friday night.
I must say that's what probably is a good thing, is that footy's already back for us in 5 days time. I just I'm not looking forward to it because I've got no idea how we're going to front up, but obviously we'll all be there, me and the kids, as we did today.
Yep.
Miller would love to jump on, but it's just too late, unfortunately. By the time we get home and showers and it's just too hard.
No, that's all good.
What did your I don't know, who did you go to the game with? How are they taking the game?
I was with my brother and my sister, a few friends. Look, we're all the same. We're frustrated. I mean, I put things into perspective pretty quickly when it's not the best. I mean, literally 3 years ago, so 2021, right? We've got no clue how to win a game of football.
Yeah.
That was only 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
We were North Melbourne 4 seasons ago, 5 seasons ago. We'd come up against a
Yeah,
top
yeah.
4 side. We'd be
Yeah.
gallant. We'd give it a crack. End of the season, we
Yeah.
can't play finals. There's no pressure.
Yeah.
And so now we're that team that teams are coming at. And I reckon we're still adjusting to that. So
Yep.
to put it into perspective, look at where we've come from, look at where we are. Obviously, you know, I don't want to get too sucked into that and just, you know, try and be blindly positive, but I'm grateful. Like, you know, it's not going to be pretty all the time. We
Yep.
had an amazing 5-game run not long ago, and we're in a little bit of a funk, maybe.
Yeah, a bit of fun.
But
Yep.
like, there's room to improve. I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah, I found a lot of players actually played well today. That's the funny thing as well. Like, obviously we made our errors and whatnot, but I think it just came down to pressure and, you know, willing to run and create space and all the fundamentals and all the basics. But I think overall, like a lot of our bottom 5 to 10 players actually played good. Like, you know, Ollie Hollins and I mean Kotz is still a bit light on, but at least he got a bit more around the ball. Created some opportunities. Obviously, you know, Motts comes in and Fogg kicks a couple and Ollie's kicks goals and Cow probably had a pretty not the greatest game today actually. But yeah, I just found like a lot of the bottom players, they played okay. It was just the overall team pressure that just wasn't there. It just oof. It was yeah. And I just hope that we can somehow wrestle it back, eh? Far out.
Got to find.
Because
are you confident that we are going to improve, or do you think we're on a downward spiral?
well, the problem is that we are Carlton supporters, and we've known the last 20 years, yeah. So I just, you know, this is a whole brand new team. You know, the club has evolved. Everyone's brand new, so there's no reason why we should have that existing crap filter in where we just fall away and, you know, do like what Essendon have done last year and Essendon are going to do this year, for example. So I've got a bit of confidence in that we can turn it around, but also not confidence as well. It's a strange feeling.
You know, the Essendon thing, I think, is a good case study of how important your belief is within your fan base. You talk to every Essendon fan; they've been saying this since round 9. We're gonna fall. We're gonna fall. I would love to do a deep dive study into how much that mentality has seeped into their playing group. Do they believe that it's
Yeah.
as well? I just think we've got to be really careful because the last thing we want is for that mentality to seep into the playing group. We're like, oh, we're Carlton, you know, classic, you know, this is us.
Well, this is what I come down to saying. It's a whole new group. It's a whole new team behind the players as well. So there's no reason why they should be thinking that. They should be thinking that we're a whole new club. We're better than that now. So there's no reason why they can't just say, yeah, let's get back to how we were. Let's wrestle it back and make a run for it. And that's it. Because the way I see it is our best is on par with Sydney, you know. But we've just got to be able to fucking capitalise, eh?
Yeah, mate. We'll be right. See you next Friday. Marvel Stadium, 7:40.
Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
All right, mate. Thanks for calling in.
Have a good week.
See ya. Hey, something really magical just happened here. Firstly, we don't play Marvel like we do at the G. Thanks, Vic Wired Renovations. Michael C. Madden has gifted 20 Blue Abroad memberships. That is a record right there. Michael, super kind. And if you are one of those 20, like, a thank you at the bare minimum, I would have thought. So great stuff. All right, who have we got? We've got Tolls, then we've got Connor, and then we've got Lucinda. Tolls.
Hi, it's me.
Different backdrop. I'm used to being in your room. Like, what's the story here, mate?
I'm in the same house. I'm in the lounge room now because my parents just left for a 3-month road trip. So I am getting a bit of a precursor to moving out. It's quite nice.
Very
It's a
good.
good step for my life.
What was your experience? How did you watch the game today? And what was your takeaway?
I took my second ever shift at Marvel Stadium. So, yeah, one fun thing about Marvel is, give me one sec, I've got the TV on in the background. I'm watching Formula One.
That's actually smart. That might have been copyrighted had we kept that. That's thank you for that.
Yes. I'm sure my mic is good enough to get you a copyright strike for that.
Be surprised.
But yeah, true. Fucking Fox are pieces of shit. But yeah, I was stuck in a dingy little hole in on level 3 of Marvel Stadium, and yeah, I had my don't tell my managers, but I had my phone with KO set up in the box of chips. So I watched a bit of the game, mostly the third quarter, which was pretty good. Second quarter, it was a real indictment, that pressure rating, but yeah, third quarter we hit 250, and I thought that was the big change. I looked at like the second quarter, they showed the graphic of we were very poor, like it was terrible pressure, and then at the time the Kangaroos were up at 250, and it swapped around pretty much in the third quarter, which is really shows what made the game tonight.
Where do you sit with the overall picture of where we're at right now after 18 games, 12 wins, 6 losses?
Remind me again, how many points did we get from beating Geelong by 50 points plus? We got 4 points.
Yeah.
How many points did we get beating the Kangaroos by 20 points?
4 points.
And say it with me now, somehow we're still second. Like, yeah, it is what it is. I think Vossi is still trying to work out position stuff and trying to get people into the team. And I can't say it's been the most successful, but it needs to happen. It's something that needs to happen. We need to work out this stuff before finals, because it in the end it got us undone last year. We had a great run in finals last year, but it was not the most convincing, and we didn't get we lost out to Brisbane, and that's it. But yeah, I think for the midfield, absolutely, I think Chera's butt is on the interchange bench for the for starting siren for the rest of the season. I think it's got to be Cripps, Walsh, and Hewitt at the first bounce every game. They are just those three have done it. Whatever ruck we have on, those three have the synergy to built up over the entire season. And I think Chera is a great player, but he needs to come in as an interchange, I think, essentially. Yeah.
Cool.
And we need to find other things for Chera to do, etc. I think trying to get him a run in the halfback is great. I think Sard absolutely needs to be halfback every game. He needs to start our run. Like, he is an incredible foot speed out of halfback, and I feel the ball, our kick-ins from a point are so good because of Adam Sard.
He's the only one in the side that has the ability to run and carry like that. I'm trying to think who else has that. Who else does that?
Like the the goal square for us when we're kicking in from a point is like 30 fucking meters, just because of how Sard can make up space and kick from the middle of the defensive 50 for every kick in.
Yeah.
Just because of how he plays.
Yeah.
And on the thing of the ruck, I think, what do we think about running Pito as the sub? How do we think about that? Because we can run single ruck. If it doesn't work, we can sub in Pito as a tactical. We can sub Pito for TDK if TDK needs a break. We can do a direct 1-to-1 sub, or we can sub him in to do the double ruck strategy. Would that work?
I don't know.
I still feel like
we'd be the first team
to do
I
something else.
I think we'd be the first team to have a ruck as a sub if we were to do it. I don't think any team's done it yet. I think you probably want to start with 2 rucks maybe, and then take one off.
Sub one out. That's probably better.
Generally, that might be it. But it's such it's a great headache. Thank goodness we're at a point in time now where TDK is no longer the little baby, and he's not ready to play games yet. Like, he's ready to play games now. It's a matter of managing.
I think the biggest thing we need is we just need to find Pito something to do, pretty much.
Yeah.
After the ball is bounced, essentially.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it feels like he does a good hit out, he shepherds so to get the midfield run on, or he gets a hand pass or a bump, and then he just pulls his phone out and sits down. It feels like, but
yeah. Anyway, very good. Tolls, love your work. Thanks for calling in.
Absolutely.
Speak
good
to you
to
soon.
see you.
See you, mate. You too. All right, Connor.
Hi, Terry.
How are you, mate?
Good, how are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, mate. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Very good. What did you rate our performance out of 10 today?
My thoughts have, let's see, successful at the start, and then honestly, straight at the end, it was a bit it was close by 10 points. I thought it was a bit more points than that. It was just a 19-point win. I thought we're going to win by more.
The only thing, I think we all wanted to win by a bit more, didn't we? We have a really high standard of this team now, don't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And there was one thing I forgot to mention last time I talked to you.
Yeah.
I met there was mother today.
There was what? Sorry.
I met the always brother and his mum today. I forgot to mention it last time I saw you. I met their mother today when she came over.
Yeah.
For the first time, and other than that, I had shown you one more, but I think we should be able to make it in the next 3 more rounds.
Yeah.
We got 3 more rounds to go.
We've got 5 more rounds to go with this season.
I think we got 3 more rounds. I think we got round 20. I think we got round 20.
No, we've got all the way through to round 24.
Oh, we have got 24.
So we got 5 more games. We're going to play Port Adelaide on Friday night. Then we've got Collingwood, and then Hawthorn, West Coast, and then we play St Kilda. We've got 5 more games.
Gee, I can't believe it's in the season.
Mate, there's so much more footy still left to play.
I know.
What about next week? What do you think about us playing against Port? How are we going to go?
The Port, anyway, there's a slight chance we possibly will get more goals, and I mean tonight we had Ollie has kicked. I think Ollie kicked 2 or 3 goals.
Mate, he kicked 3. Motlop kicked 3. Charlie kicked 4. They were up and about.
It does 54. 1 goal, 3 line.
Mate, it was good. No, it was good. Are you excited for next week?
I'm sure I am. And
Mate.
before I leave, I got something,
Yeah?
I got something to show you.
Yeah, what do you want to show me?
I got a photo to show you.
Yeah?
Here is a photo.
There's no photo.
My photo was actually a camera. I had a photo on the background.
Yeah?
I turned the camera back off. I thought you can see it.
You know what you should do? Send it in to me. Send it
Yeah,
to me like on Instagram or something.
Yeah, I'll send it to you by Instagram.
All right, mate. Sounds good. Thanks so much for calling in, yeah?
Yeah, so I'll talk to you next week.
See you, Connor. Go Blues.
Go Blues.
Star. Lucinda. She's here.
Okay, Terry. So
Lucinda,
everyone,
let's break it down. I like what we did last week. I want 3 succinct points about today.
okay, but before I start, let me try and get some positivity to the second quarter. Okay, we still kicked 3 goals, 1. To put that into perspective, North were on 3-1 before second quarter. So yeah, we let them kick 6. That sucks. But we still went up at least 2-1 ourselves. It's not like we did nothing. Okay, so 3. Number 1, let's make it full circle. Charlie somehow Herculeanly shuts out all the toxicity. And yes, I picked up on the, celebrations where you might have seen the, not really said F you and that good enough for you. So what I was really praying for more than, their health, was that he would be able to shut that out and go again. I centered myself a lot during the week with the 1.2 to 3.7, and I wasn't being unrealistic, but I did kind of have this thing like he gets his 1, he continues his record streak, then he gets 2 and he fires up. 3 to 6 is possible. Now, as soon as Hogan drew level, I'm like, that's great. Now he's going to be not giving a fuck what the supporters say. He's going to get back to work with the benefits of helping his side to the personal achievements. And as soon as Hogan was a tie, I just knew he was going to be fine. And here we are. Now you'll have the first people, you'll have some people saying, oh, great, 2 behinds, whatever. So
No,
those
that's
2.
fine. I think
exactly.
it's part of the game,
Yeah, it just feels that some people want to complain about anything and everything and just have one negative when it comes to our poor lad. But I was
What was your second? Sorry, so Charlie was the first.
Yeah.
What was the second?
Harry goes down, everyone's like, oh shit, he gets up, he kicks a goal. The AFL app says he's subbed injured. He comes back, he kicks a goal, and I'm like, well, that was an express, doing okay. I just thought if he was taken off, it would be a good precaution, but he showed that he didn't need to be. So now my second point is probably like a speculation or a research in that, okay, so if there is a uh-oh moment and it's near the end of a quarter and the guy is going to get checked, whether it's any player, does the AFL app default say subbed injured? And then if they don't know until, for example, the 4th starts, and obviously Harry was back out and doing just fine, thank you very much. I'm just wondering if they are just trigger happy and they say sub injured, that's it, or they, say it could be injured, but they say it as, declared until further notice. That would make sense.
So the app is a little bit cooked, to be honest, because anytime a player goes off for any assessment, for whatever reason, the app just says injured, which is like a nightmare if you're a supporter like what we all are, and you see an injured next to a player and they might just be getting a rub down. And yeah, but I wouldn't take the app writing injured as fact,
Oh,
So
I never did. They got it wrong with Jacob. Fortunately,
correct.
wrong earlier in the year. But yeah.
So
I
that's
just
that
saw-
one. And what was the
Yeah,
next one?
I'll get there. I just want to close that one out. I'm being
Yeah.
cheeky. Like, essentially, I just see it as maybe they say it as a just in case, wait to hear from the club, and then it's like, happy days that he's back.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's,
Hmm.
an interesting, different thing. Third point would be, okay, I don't know what that noise was, but
That was
anyway,
on my end.
well, that's
Sorry, what
okay.
was the third? Sorry, what was the third point?
Okay, so the last fortnight, we concede matches by 12 and 14. We win by 19. We've done the direct turnaround. It's not exactly damage control. Do you want an 80-point win before Port and then, get overconfident? Or do you want a, successful version of a wake-up call and take that match very, very seriously? We have the potential, staying in the present 1 week at a time, to still go undefeated from here because of the blueprint and the lessons that we have learned. Sure, we might see some margins like, the Cats and Tigers, and we might see 1 point cliffhangers, hopefully without 5 seconds to go. Like, we've got the point already. But finals footy, and I said this in 2023, is a kick or less. Thrashings are misleading. And okay, you could say against the Giants, okay, well, we weren't expecting to be 30 to 40 ahead. We don't know what to do with ourselves. Whoops. And then they left the run too late, almost like a copy paste of Cats number 1. So you can't be complacent, and, you can have a sense of wish it was more, but a win is a win, as, is a final narrative for the majority. I am assuming, I don't know for sure, but I'm very happy with that because we basically won by more than we just, conceded the last 2 times. It does kind of make me have the what if they just let Jesse come in. I don't think we would have
You know
lost
what
that.
else is? You know what else as well?
Yeah.
We all put, not all, some of us put a lot of stock in percentage and margins, and you should be beating this team by this much. We're really just, what we're doing right now is going through a qualifying phase into finals, and then final starts, and then there is never a talk about how much you win a final by. So if we get to a qualifying final, for example, do we need to win that qualifying final by a certain amount of points in order to prove that we can win a flag? I find that really interesting.
No, because you could win
So
the grand final by 1 point.
that's true. So, no, very good. Very good. I like the way you broke that down, Lucinda. It's good stuff.
Yeah, let's just celebrate that the people who, might have criticized him last week, you're allowed to enjoy his goals, but please, for the love of Charlie, can you support him when he has a down day, off day? And if an off day is 10 set shots, 3 goals, 7, his
Yep.
7 behinds see us, needing less goals if it had gone the other
Yeah.
way. But the
That's
reality
last
is you
week.
need to love him every single time, not just when he's kicking ass, but when he's still doing more than enough, more than the average footballer. But, sometimes it's not good enough for people, but you need to not risk, his mental health, his psychology. He's shut it out and he's a professional, and thank the Lord he was able to. But we need more of us to do the whole stronger together thing and, not be greedy and have the healthy expectation. I know it came from disappointment and the what if and the wanting it for him more than anything else. But we need to love him even when it's not what some people could be used to. It needs to be good, bad, it needs to be all the time. Because let's
Mate.
have a little look at something very quick.
No, I think the point is
No, it's a
perfectly
visual.
made. I
No,
think
no,
the point, I think it's been perfectly made.
Thank you for the applause sound thingy, but the point has a visual thingy.
All right,
I'm going to try.
let me see it. Yep.
Oh my God. Okay. So do we see this little 64 thing? Because the
We
last
do.
time I checked, he is, I think 10 off that now. Or he got to 50, so 53 now.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
every
Lucinda,
time
I really want to wrap up. Sorry, I
that's
really
totally
want to
okay.
wrap up. Yeah. But thank you very much for
You're
your
welcome.
thoughts. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.
I appreciate you and this channel, and it's really funny. A member in my row excused themselves as they're trying to get back to their seat. They said,
Yeah.
"Sorry, Lucinda, bye." They said, sorry, by name, and I'd never met them before. And they said, yes, I know you're from Blue Abroad. I'm like, well, that's okay then.
It's the hair. I'm telling you, you're a cult hero now. It's great.
That's cute and lovely, and I'm really appreciative to that woman. I'll be very interested to find out what her YouTube name is, so I can, say, "Oh, that's great," and how cool is it we fluke the same row at Marvel. But I just wanted an excuse to bring out the what would you call that, framed poster
Frame.
thingy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, all good.
So I just
Thanks,
wanted to prove the
Lucinda.
point.
Have a
Yeah.
good night.
You too. Bye.
See ya. Bye. All right. We've got one more, and then we're going to wrap up. Wow, it's like nearly 3 hours. It's fucking 10:48 a Sunday night. Mateo,
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you, mate. How you doing?
All right. I mean, wasn't the best game, but I'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take 4 points where we can get it.
Just want to start off by saying I might be the biggest Jackson Binns fan to ever exist.
Okay.
I love him and really, really hope that he gets a game this weekend.
Mate,
I think
47
yeah, I
touches,
think he
3
really
goals.
deserves it.
Yeah, I think so too. It's a pretty big performance from him today, wasn't it?
I mean, that wins you 3 Brownlow votes and Norm Smith any week,
Yeah, mate, that wins you. Yeah, 47 touches, 3 goals. I don't think many players in the history of the game have had 47 and 3 in a game. So, yeah.
I was saying to my dad early on, that might have been like one of the greatest AFL performances of all time. And we had it in a VFL game,
Yeah. No, he's going along nicely. It's good to have him. If he's struggling to get a game in the AFL and he's putting up those numbers, then we're in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, that's very much true. I mean, I hope he gets to come in. I feel like Akers, if he's injured or if he's really sore, it's not a bad exchange,
Yeah. No, it's a good point. Confidence levels going into Friday night against Port?
High. Port aren't the most accurate team, so we'll get a lot of chances to rebound through that match.
Cool. Is this your first time on the fan camps?
Yeah.
Mate.
Watched a few times.
Cool. Well, thanks for calling in, man. Appreciate it. Go Blues.
Yeah. Go Blues.
All right. That's us. So we always have trouble with the press conference. So what I want to do is I've downloaded the press conference as an audio. So I'm going to play the press conference and we'll have to just listen to it as opposed to watch it and see if this gets us in trouble or not. But anyway, let me just test this out.
Yeah, they did. No, that was an extremely hard game. It looked from the outside, it looked like it was a pretty high quality game. But yeah, we had to go all the way for it. Look, I think the tendency when you're coming in is very easy to sort of look at positions on ladder and make your judgments based off that. We're not that football team. We're not that football club. We've got some important steps we need to be able to take between now and the end of the season. So we treat every team the same. And recent results would say that their reality has been a hell of a lot better than what they were at the start of this year. And so we gave them the respect that they deserved. We knew their game was in pretty good order. They had one against Sydney, but other than that, they've been pretty good since the bye. So fully aware what was coming, and we didn't probably handle a couple of things through the second quarter that we needed to change. The speed of the game was probably not exactly how we wanted it to be, but made those adjustments at half time, and we're obviously able to correct it in the third quarter. That sort of gave us the margin we're after.
How concerned were you when North are blowing through the middle there or down the wings in that second term?
Yeah, well, that was the part that was probably concerning us the most. There's a little bit of contest. The outnumber ball that was giving us a few issues that we sort of needed to probably method-wise correct a little bit. There's some structure things we needed to change to help us with that. But then also just, we were probably, fueling their transition game as well by the way that we were playing. So, Yeah, there was a couple of things at half time that we needed to just sort of correct a little bit, and to credit the opposition tested us in a few areas when it come to that part of the game, and fortunately we were able to correct. And sometimes this game is about adapting and it's about responding and overcoming, and it wasn't just our style. We actually had some players that were coming off the ground as well that we needed to keep checking, and guys had to step up. So you won't see me downplaying this win. I thought it was a really healthy win with all things being considered.
Was it the response you were after?
Was it the response you were after?
I think it's been a bit of a build. We were okay against the Dogs, but not brilliant. And defensively, I just feel like we haven't had that same level of pressure around the ball for the last couple of weeks. So that's made it tough, and we've sort of thought the scoreboard would do the work for us, and I think we can outscore teams, and we've got that if we need it, but it's not how we base our game off. So today, I'm more concerned about how we play, and today I saw a group of players that were, hungry to get after the contest, and they were able to, get some speed at the opposition and put them under pressure. It wasn't exactly going our way in the first, but then in the second half, it felt like we were able to do that for most of the second half.
How did you get through injury-wise? Because the Connie was sore, obviously. Walsh looked like he had a sore back as well.
Yeah, more to assess. So we've got a few that we need to assess. They've got through the game okay, but yeah, they just needed a few checks. As you said, TDK with the foot. So he was treated and went back out there. Walsh was another one with the back, so we got need there. So we just got to see how that settles. But got through the rest of the game. And obviously with Durden as well, it was almost like welcome back to AFL footy. He hasn't played footy for a while, so it was a pretty taxing game for him. But I thought he did a great job being able to come in and play within the system and the roll down back, and it was a pretty important role that he needed to play for us today.
Is there extra concern around Walsh with a back issue?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he's had a direct knock there, so that's as far as I'm aware, that's all it currently is.
Will you be sort of cautious with them considering how short your turnaround is? I think it's 5 or 6 days to Port Adelaide.
We've done it pretty well before. So we've had a little dress rehearsal against Port Adelaide, actually. So we get to play the same team, but it's at obviously this venue. So no, we should be well versed in what we need to be able to do next.
Michael, in the last quarter, it seemed like you tried to slow the tempo of the game down, knowing that North Melbourne were going to have a last final crack at you, and intended to hold on to the ball for a period of time just to try and continue the momentum your way.
Yeah, well, we've got to play those scenarios as a footy team well. I think we've done that particularly well over the last 18 months. And just being able to take our moments. But what was also important at three-quarter time, that playing slow wasn't going to get the job done for us. We need to keep playing the same way and keep challenging the opposition. And we had a few of those moments, but the game was certainly put in the fight. And North certainly weren't going to give it away. They're playing an aggressive style of football, and we sort of knew they'd keep coming, so it was important for us to keep playing the same way. But shut the game down in the end. Obviously took the scoreboard off them, and we were able to find the win in the end.
You made a few positional changes today with Chera at half-back, Hewitt and Carroll coming into the team in the midfield. How'd you see that?
Asking about Chera, Hewitt, and
There's a couple
Carroll.
Positive ones. Like that's. I think even Matty Kennedy being able to go back in the second half, and Chincotta being able to go forward and pick up his usual role. So, no, I think that sort of almost speaks to the squad mentality a bit and the roles. And we've probably the last couple of weeks maybe stepped away from that too much. And we haven't put our hand up when it's our turn and invest ourselves totally within the team. And if I was being critical of anything, that'd certainly be it. But today, boys stayed present. We responded when challenged, had to overcome, we adapted, had to change some roles. And I was really pleased with what we got out of it.
Did the group enjoy and thrive on a bit of flexibility? Because after your Sydney loss earlier in the year, you changed a few things up then. That was when Chincotta started tagging, Williams forward. Was that the same sort of response today with those moves?
Well, I think we're certainly not a fixed product. Like it's, we're constantly evolving, and we're not looking to overhaul anything at this stage of the year, but we are still trying to find out about us. And there are some things that we can do that hopefully just help us find out maybe a little bit more about us. And so if that means a positional change to be able to do that, then so be it. But there is a fine line. We want to be settled. We want to build the cohesion and the connection. And that's obviously really important. But you never know what a game's going to throw at you. We had one of those games today where we're probably going to have to make some adjustments. But as it turns out, the boys were able to play out the game pretty well, and were able to probably look at the game a little bit tactically and change a couple of things. So that was an advantage to us.
During the coverage, there's a bit of conjecture about Harry Mackay when he took the knock to the head late in the quarter, stayed on, kicked the goal, and then had time at the start of the fourth quarter or something.
Yep.
Was there much of a delay or too much of a delay between him getting looked at? Because I think your doctor may have been downstairs or somewhere else.
No, I couldn't speak to specifics of the actual time. But what I do know is that obviously the protocol was there, and we got notified that we needed to get him off the ground. So he came off the ground and went into those protocols. So fortunately he was able to respond, and he was okay, and he was able to keep the game going. So we had to hold the probably downside to that at that particular time was just more we had to hold our tactical sub and to work out whether we need to change Harry or not. So that's probably a different discussion in time maybe, but certainly not today. But I feel like we followed what we needed to, and Harry got the care that he needed.
And was Akers hurt, or was it a tactical one?
No, that was he was sort of hobbling around a little bit. I think a couple of little bumps and bruises here and there that he was battling with, and probably wasn't moving as well. He was keen enough to go on. Just felt like we had some fresh legs. So once we knew that Harry was okay, then we could probably go with something different.
You mentioned before falling away a little bit from that squad mentality that's so important to you. How do you get that back when it sort of falls away?
Good question.
I thought it was a great response today. I thought it was fantastic the way the boys responded. I mean, when you go in at half time, you can tend to try and look at outcomes and what the scoreboard's looking, and not respect enough of your opposition and what they're doing. And I felt like all our players were completely present and stayed connected with each other, and we're still getting their jobs done. But there was just some corrections we needed to be able to, some adaptations we needed to be able to make within the game. So, and as I mentioned, one of that was ball speed. It was just we're just throwing the ball a little bit around too much by hand, and that was causing us some issues.
Was it good to see Owies and Motlop both give you so much today, and how did you think having both those two worked?
Look, I think what I've been particularly impressed with our forward line is that they are absolutely sharing their load amongst one another, and you talk about the small bits of growth within the team over a period of time that we've learned, and and it's probably now unfair to sort of sit there and just say Harry and Charlie, because you got a group that are down there that are working really well together, and they really celebrate each other's success, and they have a really clear idea on what their roles are, and and they gel really well as a forward group. They got their own little special connection down there, that bunch, but they really thrive and they bring energy for us, and both those boys in particular bring an enormous amount of energy for us and bring some presence on the floor. Cheers, no worries.
There you go. That's that. And that's the fan cams. Round 19, 2024. Got the win. That's the main thing that mattered. And away we go. As you would have seen on screen, the BA shop has launched this month. So anything purchased from the Blue Abroad shop, you're going to get a limited edition version of the pin. So that includes if you buy a pin. If you buy one of these bad boys, you'll get one of these alternate versions. If that's going to... Is it going to like... Oh, that's not going to... There we go. So that's that. Otherwise, on your way out, if you could hit the like button, that's free. You don't have to pay to do that. That would be appreciated. Thanks to Mr. Koken for sponsoring the fan cams this year. Thanks to you all for being here. Aiden, you do get one. You purchased a pin the other day, so you get both versions. Thank you. Yeah, that's us. Thanks for tuning in. Review will be out tomorrow. Ratings 5 p.m. Blue Abroad show 7 p.m. Almost Blues Brothers 8 p.m. It's Monday Madness again. It's like 5 hours of content for you tomorrow, so that'll be fun. And yeah, thanks very much for being here, and see you tomorrow. Go Blues.